that receptacle. Here is your agenda and FYI on what reparations are. Restroom is here. After you go around the bend, you can follow her, or it's the second door down after the fitness area.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Did you take a picture of this one too?
I might as well while I'm here, right? All right. How's it going? All right. Good to see you.
It's happening in front of our eyes.
Just Google. I tell you, universal basic income. That's all you have to say. No, what I'm saying.
Hey, go ahead. It's okay.
Search is Google. Just put it in there and pull it up for you. To the people that have been, the people that have been found guilty.
Should be coming back now. All right. Let's wrap this particular conversation up. Trust me, we have more. Don't even worry about it. We're not shortchanging you. I need you to come back with me, though. I need you to come back with me. This table having a lively discussion. I need y'all to come back with me. Come back with me if you will. Oh, trust me, you got plenty more time. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. If I can get everybody's attention, we can get it going so we can get the conversation to continue. All right. Has every table picked out their share out person? All right. I'm gonna popcorn around. I'm gonna start with this table over here, though, on my right, your left. I'm gonna start with this table. And I want you to tell me what you heard, what you've been grappling with. What was some contention? What was some connection? Let's hear it. Who's sharing out for this table? Can you come? I don't want to stretch the cord. Yeah, come on around. All right. We got 15 minutes for this shit. Now come. I want you to have it. We're gonna have 15 minutes, so we got 15 minutes to get to our R5 table, so try to be as succinct as possible.
3 minutes. I'll try to be short. Good afternoon. My name is Darian Johnson. I'm the newest member of the Reparations Task Force, so it's great to be here. Our group really talked about, first we kind of level set it by giving introductions to who we are. But one of the things that we really focused our conversation on was economics, mental health, and atonement. And I think one of the best kind of discussion points that we talked about was generational trauma. And we really spent a lot of time about that. First is talking about just, Cassie kind of talked about when her time in the Boston busing back in 1976, and my father actually was during the time was a high schooler, so we talked about just like how that affected my father in terms of his upbringing of myself and my family, and as you talk about your family as well, and Betsy kind of mentioned too, as well as, when you hear about reparations, you talk a lot about like the financial incentive, like the financial, like what that looks like for cash outs. But a lot of us will talk about too is like how mental health really, the generational trauma that folks have faced, our grandfathers, our parents have faced, and how that may have affected even maybe their earnings or them dealing with their internal problems. Like how did that actually help them? Like it may have prevented them from maybe going after a potential job or going after something that they wanted to because they were really trying to heal themselves. And the second thing that we really went into was economics, but more so on the legislative side, because I feel like when we talk about reparations, we talk about what we want, but like actually, how do we do that from a procedure point of view? And a lot of times, I think we could add there a sixth bucket might be just like legislative. I don't know how to what it would be, but the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of times in our communities, we actually don't really know how the process really works and what the budget, what the criteria, what the breakdown of things are. And so we really just want to, obviously we want to say like the things that we want and say, bring up ideas and things that can be fixed. But it's like, how do we actually get through that process and like what that looks like?
Appreciate it. Giving some quick support. Giving some support. Talk about generational trauma, mental health. I love it. Let me hear what this table has. Who's our? Okay, come on over if you would.
I sent that flyer to pregnant mothers.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Louis. It's my first day here. It's pretty cool. So, today we focused on harm and how can we fix that. Most of us was talking about down payments, cash. I also want to throw in non-taxable down payments. We also talked about the injuries of this ongoing situation that we have with the state. Well, the country, actually. When we talked about how can we fix it, we talked about basically, can we go through the government? Can we try to fix ourselves? What are solutions? One of the solutions that we had was policies. Policies is very important, honestly, because it shapes the states that we are in. Also, I'm gonna make it faster. So. Also, we talked about where can we get this money from. Some of us said Federal Reserve, but we also, the things that we had problems with was how to not make it race-based. One of the things I came up with was lineage. Well, some of us came up with lineage and seeing how we could maneuver the word race, because Massachusetts is a very diverse state. It's one of the most diverse states in the United States, actually. That's why I said lineage-based would probably work, but it's a start. But thank you.
I hope you guys understand how complex these issues are. They're not. Remember how I said in our agreements, there's no simple solutions. There are more ands than ors. All right, I'm going to one of the back tables. Can this table tell us who bring the speaker up? And I think it might be, no, I don't want a chance to hear.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Leslie, and I'm representing this table over here. We started our discussion with the tort, and resonated most that people were talking about were to know that it's a legal process, looking backwards into 400 years, and the difficulty to prove and the bar that's high and the categories, mostly walk away with the feeling of hopefulness and the fact that it may be a continued learning process. That said, in terms of the tort, at the end of the day, we're lucky to have a lawyer at our table, and we talk about looking at the fix from the root of the problem, which we feel like there is no legal incentive to fix the existing system that's designed to continue to oppress. So the legislation and the policy, that's the root of what needs to be addressed. And we don't know what we don't know, but what we do know is what we have is not working for us collectively. And then we had a range of emotions around being happy and sad, around what's currently happening with our constitutional rights being stripped day by day, snatched what seemed like in a blink of an eye, and that's also what needs to be changed. We do feel like we know compensation-wise to look at how this country, whether or not it can be sued. You sue the United States government and or you sue, we have family names that benefited from slavery itself. So that's where we want to direct our policy, our legislation, we want to sue those entities.
All right. I'm gonna do this table last, and I'm gonna do this table next. Who was speaking from this table? All right, come on. I got a little slack here.
Hey everyone, my name is Raymond. I would say with our table, we had a really great conversation in terms of what we found was we enjoyed the overall conversation on the background of reparations and the discussion of the different models, and everyone, knew about the different models, so that was refreshing. Though I think a lot of our conversation came on a focus on working to ensure that a focus on the community development.
Hold on one second. I want to make sure everybody can hear you.
Yeah.
Like you guys were listening to everybody else.
Okay. Making sure that the focus, even when discussing community development, doesn't distract or provide a scapegoat for the city for their level of responsibility or culpability, but also ensuring that while framing is important, how long to spend on framing, because some people feel that it's been 2 years of framing, and 2 years of framing a conversation, looking at a conversation, and excited to get it to actually discussing particular harms and action items that we can see getting done. So, anything else?
Great. Thank you. Who was speaking for this table?
Good morning, everybody. Eric Wilcox, homeless advocate for the city of Boston. It's a good pleasure to be here today. So this is what we got our overall viewpoints on. It was basically pinned to power at hand and people in control of us in our community. So we can't keep doing that. So one of our guys at the table went to some key words which were dependence on ourselves rather than on the city. So it's a matter of unity now, because we're lacking unity. See, I got my own store over here. I'm doing this over here. Well, come on, throw your funds together so we can have ours instead of they can have theirs. So in addition to that, we also went into prioritizing harm reduction by repairing and utilizing what we can call reparations. This young lady just made a little comment about the legal aspect, and I guess counsel is here. Glad to see you after this, my dude. Because we need to go with a class action lawsuit. We need every signature here in this room Every signature we can get out there, we need to go to federal court with it. And we need to sue the politicians in this city for the hardships they've caused us minorities. And we need to sue them in their personal capacity instead of their official capacity. Let me tell you the difference between that. If I sue you in your official capacity, who cares? You Big Willie anyway. You ain't lost your job. If I sue you in your personal capacity, I'm putting common law liens on your pool. I'm gonna make sure you can't use your credit card. You're gonna get to know we ain't serious around here. We coming at you personally. Because they've been coming at us since slavery. We go on a little bit more here. So the coalition between organized unity is something that we need to have. We don't really got it like that right now. What's the problem? Strategy meetings like we got now. Well, we doing this once a month, once every 6 months. Come on. And I'm definitely not going to minimize the support, the intellect, and the reasoning that these people have given us this morning. Guess what? It's a little bit our turn. It's our turn to try to step up the game and make an impact. I'll give you a prime example of something that I do with Homeless Avenue that has to do with all this. I gotta deal with these people every single day. About 5 o'clock in the morning, walking the streets. Narcating people. I got the record for narcating the most people in a month. And I also on the record for finding the most people dead. And guess what those people are? 60% minorities. And the drug and substance abuse problem is their big issue. So what do they need? Let me tell you what they're doing real quickly. I don't mean to take over the media. This is what they're doing. They're taking them off the street. And they're putting them in housing that the state and government paid for without giving them treatment. So when they get there, what are they going to do with their apartment? That same thing they're doing right now. Trap houses. Death, murder, suicide. We need to step our game up on substance abuse. Because you're going to send one of us to detox endemic with mice running around. You're going to send other more privileged people. I don't like to use the word white. My last name's Kelly. I got it in my blood. But anyway, we need to start sending our people with the same kind of insurance that these folks are going to down high ends. Etc., etc., etc. What they gonna want to stay endemic for? To eat cafeteria food. They're gonna bounce. Send them down to that resort and they might get some recovery under their belt.
How many more do we have? Thank you. How many more? Thank you.
Unity, again, our big issue is the unity. I got a minute left, so I'm gonna say this. What we got here. In conclusion, we need to empower ourselves, my people. Not wait for the powers to be to make our lives more comfortable. So quote something in the Bible, be a doer of the word, not a hearer. Is that what we're really doing here? Well, obviously we're doers because we're here for a reason. Like the brother said, we all got something to do. And guess what? We got a bigger job and a bigger calling to do. Let's stop talking, my people. Let's stop walking.
All right. Man, y'all was getting in at your table, I can tell. Man. So look, this is a good opportunity. This is going to segue into our next discussion. Listen, you're going to be at the same table. You're going to build on the discussion that you had with the next discussion. All right? You also, yes, what's what we got? I want to stop. We got issue, challenge.
I didn't know if this table went.
Yeah, he went first. All right. Right? Yeah, my man, Lewis went first. Yeah.
I keep thinking of that. I think of it
So we're gonna frame up the next discussion. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say one thing. I'm canvassing, so I gotta get ready to go. But one thing I haven't heard, Clifton Break Rate, by the way. One thing I haven't heard.
Let me ask you to come to the mic, Clifton, if you would.
I have a lot more.
Now, I want you to come to the mic.
The public orator.
One thing I haven't heard, and I heard someone talk about law. 40 acres in the mill. Lincoln got assassinated. The next president came in. They were very bold in their racism. Let's look back at the literature why he didn't ordain what Lincoln put down. And I can guarantee you there's racist terms in there. That should be a part of our attack, finding out why we didn't get it and take it from there. Let's not work too hard. I can guarantee you they put in that literature, I ain't giving these niggas nothing. So if they did that, that's where our lawsuit can begin. Thank you, I gotta get ready. I'm doing reparations for, not reparations, I'm doing rent control. So I got a whole team throughout the state, so I gotta get out of here.
Appreciate it.
All right, Cliff.
Make sure, please, check into that, because I can guarantee you, in that language, they said something racist, and that will be the base of our fight. Thank you.
All right. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna frame this this next discussion for you all. This is what I need everyone to do, if you would, indulge with me.
You have attorneys for a reason.
Everybody stand up, please. Everybody take a stand. Everybody that can, take a stand, please. Everybody that can, take a stand, please. If you're a Bostonian, if you are a Bostonian for 2 years,
That doesn't make you a Bostonian.
It sure don't.
Say it.
want you let me facilitate this.
That means you watch it.
So let me facilitate this thing. If you're a Bostonian for 2 years or less, go ahead and sit down. All right, it's not a problem. Go ahead and sit down.
Yeah,
All right.
that just means you don't have
If-
return flight.
You guys not welcome into New Bostonians?
They're not
No, they're not Bostonians.
Y'all not welcome?
You're a Boston resident.
Boston return
But
flight
you're not a
tickets.
Bostonian. You're not a Bostonian unless you're born and right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yikes.
Well, let's see what the seats gonna look like in here in a second. See what
Division
the seats
already.
gonna look like here in a second. If you have, I'll change the language if you guys want me to. If you lived in Boston for 2 to 10 years, go ahead and take a seat. Right?
We got to tell our age.
If you have 2 generations, you are a second generation Bostonian, sit down. If you are a 4th generation Bostonian, sit down. That means that you know and can document your great grandfather or mother
That lived in Boston.
that lived in Boston. You're not a 4th generation Bostonian.
You saying if you are or not? What did she say?
If you can trace back to 5 generations, meaning that your mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother or father, you know who they are, you know where they live in Boston. Remain standing.
I don't know where he lives.
People haven't done it.
I don't want to hear no excuses. I'm talking about the people that know. All right.
Yeah, I know where they live.
All right. Good. We listen. 2 people are remaining. I want to have you come up and tell your family story very quickly. How you tell your family story very quickly, and then I'm gonna have you come up next. All right.
We need the name.
5 generations. Let's give it up for her.
And it was funny, thank you. My name is Sabina June, or Reverend June. So 1868 and 1880, my family was here when it was Massachusetts Bay Colony. And it's something because just the other day we were four family members and I were talking with Smithsonian where our family papers are. So, and we want to bring them back to Boston where they landed from my grandmother Nanois, right? Artifacts and plaques, Purple Hearts from World War I. My great-great-great-granduncle was a conductor and an activist. He went to Africa, and his obituary says he worked with the native peoples. He was an artist, musician, and it goes on and on. It's a lot of their contributions to America regarding their, regarding them surviving the Middle Passage.
What's the family last
And
name?
Okay, now, here we go. The surname was Sullivan and Van. So they made it through Canada. We're still authenticating. It takes a while. Smithsonian has had our family collection for the past 20 years. And now we want it back. My family, they landed and lived in the West End on Beacon Hill, Irving Street, you know where the house is. So we're doing some work on that. And a family member of ours married Louis Latimer from the incandescent light bulb, if you know the story of Louis Latimer. So we're working with the African American Museum currently with my family members in Virginia, and anyway, so goes the story. That's our story, and I've been a lifelong community activist, national activist, radicalized, I believe, during the assassination of Dr. King. And I just turned 71 years old. I've been around. I've been around a long time. But yeah, thank you for that.
Thanks for sharing. Give her another hand. Thanks for sharing your family's history here in Boston. Come up, please.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
You leaving already?
Yeah, I got it.
Wow, we wanted the next sermon for the next session.
Rest on Saturdays, man. I got things to do, remember?
The only reason why I was still standing is because even though they asked about second generation Bostonians, they never asked about first generation Bostonian. I'm a first generation Bostonian. I was born and raised in Boston. I was born in 1977. I still have family connections here on this soil, going before the name of Boston and going before the Mayflower and all that. The reason why it's so difficult to connect the roots is because a large part of Boston's history is a big lie. There was a place called Guinea, and we're still uncovering the original boundaries of Guinea. So my father's side, I'm Haitian, which is funny that they're known as the Taino or the Arawakan, but not known as a federally recognized tribe, which is interesting. On my mother's side is Alabama, and it goes far as when Alabama was connected to Mississippi and the other southern states. It's hard to trace your ancestry. For example, they named the school after one of my ancestors, the Ruffins, over in Brookline. And I used to live across from Franklin Field Projects on Blue Hill Ave. And that very spot was once known as Brookline, was once known as Norfolk County, what is now known as Dorchester in Suffolk County. So there's a lot of lies to uncover, especially Boston, England. Did this Boston come from Boston, England? Because the soil we're on right now was once upon a time England, was once upon a time Spain, and was once upon a time France. So that's a tricky question. But I was born and raised in Boston, 1977, here I am.
So that's going to lead us to our next exercise, because you notice that we talk about harms, we talk about repair, We talk about all of this stuff, and we can't even trace our own lineage back 5 generations, right?
It's not that you can't, you haven't.
Okay. And the fact that we haven't is another issue, all right? All we're trying to say is that in this reparations discussion, there are a lot of fact-finding, a lot of discovery, a lot of things that you have to even be prepared collectively. Remember, this is a collective process. There are a lot of things that you have to be prepared for collectively to move this ball forward. So the next session that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be trying to connect our own stories, and connect our community stories to the harms, right? To the harms. We don't expect people to be able to write out their harms yet. We haven't gotten there yet. But you will. You will. And when I say it, I'm talking about collective. Remember, this is shared learning, meaning that all of our collective understanding has to move to a different place. And we have to continue to keep moving that collectively to a different place in order to have the case that we need. I'm going to bring Dr. Tawheed up to ground us in local impacts and listen to this story and think about your own particular one, because that's going to be the next portion of our table of discussion.
Thank you. My story is, one of the things that I've learned from Spark is the importance of personal stories, right? People don't know who you are until you share some of yourself with them, right? And so I grew up in Philadelphia. I'm in Kansas City, but I moved to Kansas City in '75. I'm originally from Philadelphia. And I don't know, it's hard to see that. You can see it? Okay. This is elementary one. I guess I can hear it. Okay, yeah, well, I need to kind of point here, if I can. Can you see the cursor? Yeah. Okay, that's an elementary school. That's Anthony Pratt Elementary School, where I went to elementary school. When I was born, I lived in a house that was right there, right here. Now, that house is not there anymore. You can see a lot of houses are not there anymore, right? In fact, most of this block is abandoned in Philadelphia, okay? Now, of course, I don't remember when I was born, but I do remember when I was young on the street. And when my family was when I was about 3, we moved to a house that was this is 22nd Street, this is 21st Street, and it's in the block that's a block over. And we moved to a house that was owned by my aunt on 21st Street. It was right there. You can see that whole block on both sides is gone. And I do remember this because it was 8. I was 8 when we moved to another house. But my aunt ran what we call a liquor house. What a liquor house is? Huh? Juke joint, speakeasy. Yeah, she was an entrepreneur. So she ran a liquor house. And we lived up on the third story. And then when I was 8 years old, we moved to another house, which is on this dot. Now, this is the first house next to the school, across from the school. This is the second house, and we moved to this house when I was 8 years old on 18th Street. And I'll show you another picture on this, but there's another dot here. And this is a dot of a house that was in a magazine article, a Newsweek magazine article, that was published in 1988. and it was about the devastation in this community. Right, so there was a, I knew some of the people in that article. My brother-in-law was featured in that article, who at the time was an ombudsman. He was charged with fixing community problems, and he became a state representative, and then he became sheriff of Philadelphia, and he's retired now. And so this is the neighborhood I grew up in. You see, it's a lot of green space, but it's not a lot of green space because, you know, they want it to be green. A lot of the housing was old. And this house here on 18th Street, I would go back and visit. And one time visiting, there was a sign up on the house. The sign was that, one, the structure of the house was unsafe, and it was contaminated with asbestos. Now, I didn't think about that beforehand. I thought about it being structurally unsound, because I would have nightmares of walking on the floors, and the floors would move, and so forth, right? And but I hadn't had any hint about the asbestos. Once I found out that I had asbestos there, I had nightmares about getting cancer, lung cancer from that. Now, I'm past the point of worrying about that. I figured if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But my growing up in this community affected me mentally, right? But understand, that's my story, but I'm not the only one with that story. Everyone in this neighborhood has stories like that. I have stories of friends who died of drug overdoses. Fortunately, I did not. I was lucky. I have stories of folks who went to prison. Fortunately, I was lucky. When I say I was lucky, I mean I was lucky. It wasn't that I wasn't doing anything. In fact, I grew up, if you know the name Frank Rizzo. Maybe you know Frank Rizzo, that name. He was the police chief when I was growing up. And the police would stop you on the street to take your name, where you going, where you coming from, take your name. And if there was something that happened in that neighborhood, they didn't have to do any policing. They had your name, your address. They just show up at your house and say, it must have been you because you were there in the neighborhood when it happened, right? I wasn't the only one affected by that. That was a neighborhood phenomenon. And so when I saw that sign, I started to have some trepidation, if you will. And now, when you go back to the house I grew up in, there it is. Well, no, it actually is not there anymore. And that's 2 lots. That's 2 houses there. And you can go down the block and there are other empty lots and there are houses going up there. Now, this was not something that happened to me. It's my personal story. But it really is personal. I mean, this happened to lots of people. And it didn't happen by accident. There was a deliberate process that put me in that situation and put thousands and thousands across the country, millions of us, into that same situation. Matthew is going to come up and discuss that. Oh, okay, I guess I've got the next thing. Sorry. Okay. Now, one of the things to understand is that we're talking about economic, social justice, education, health, and housing. But all of these things are interconnected. I just gave you a housing story that's connected to a health story, right? And it could have been a criminal justice story because I say I zigged instead of zagged. Had I zagged instead of zigged, I would have been caught up in it. To get very personal, I have a brother who did get caught up in it. He spent 30 years in penitentiary. Younger brother. So these things are connected. You can start anywhere and trace a line everywhere, right? And I know there was a discussion about legislation. Well, legislation is in all of this, right? There's legislation, policy that affects every one of these areas. And so when we talk about, when you're gonna do an exercise and talk about harms, don't worry if your particular personal harm seems personal to you. It probably isn't. And don't worry if you think it doesn't fit in, because it fits somewhere and it's going to lead somewhere. Okay? So, Matt.
Thank you. People have seen this map before. This is a red lighting map from Boston, basically drawn up in the 1930s there. Based on the desirability of a particular neighborhood, a couple of blocks, that area of town would be eligible or ineligible for certain kinds of mortgages. Again, this is drawn up in the 1930s. Lending based on these maps was outlawed in the late 1960s, 1968 there. Did it stop there? No. But we're placing, I think what we're doing, the strategy here is to place time and space together, right? This is 1930s, what's happening today? The joke around my office, I do a lot, we make a lot of maps, we do a lot of spatial analysis. The joke around the office is that there's one map. I can look at this, I can pretty well guess, I'll bet you $1, I can guess where pediatric asthma is the highest, where income is the lowest, where educational attainment is the greatest or lowest. Things change, of course. So 100 years old. I can pretty well guess, based on this map, particular outcomes in the present day. I've cleaned that up, and I've placed kind of boundaries over neighborhoods. We live in neighborhoods, we live in communities, we don't live in census tracts. We don't live in some of these areas, which you'll see there's lots of overlap between redlined areas and different neighborhoods. It's not clean, but that's where it is. We're in Roxbury. So we're here-ish, right? Who lives in Roxbury? I guess I know those areas too well. Just here.
So, excuse me.
Yes.
A Bostonian historical fact. The whole black community, when I was raised, we all called all of it Roxbury. So from city, yeah, all the way up to Mattapan, we called it the Berry. It was annexed. We didn't cut it off like that. So that's the black history.
I think there's something about this, right? Like, who gets to decide where the lines are drawn? Like, this is, I think this is from the city's website. City Council's website.
The same year Boston became a city, Roxbury became a city in 1630.
I don't think it in New York thing, but like, when you change the neighborhood, we can expect, right? Something. So, what we're doing here is actually trying to connect harms, those 5 harm areas that we have, to communities in the present day. So we've covered lots of history, covered plenty of history here over the last 2 years. We've, again, got the historical team from the 2 universities. Now we're looking for your experience with the harms today. So you are the source of information, not looking at the history books. The reports will come. You are today's source of information. If you can note where you live, when you write these things down, that's all the more helpful. It's connecting policy, historical policy, to space, to today. Right. God bless you. Some of you have some gray hairs. Your children live in these areas. They go to school. Great-grandchildren. But today, we want to focus on your experience living in Boston, in a particular area, in the context of those 5 farm areas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you are today's source of information. There deserves to be an encyclopedia, and that's what we're doing today.
I remember when, at the beginning, Dr. Todd, he said that you are experts in your own lives. That's what we're looking for now. We're looking for your expertise. It's great. I met you before I came here, because I saw you on the video. And I saw you say that very thing about the bourbon, you know what I mean? Like, Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, all of them was all the, you know what we call that? We call that local expertise, right? This is what we're seeking from you in this next section.
We call it Boston. Period.
We don't want to hear from a research study. We don't want to hear from, some historian somewhere. You are the research study. You are the historian. Your stories matter, and that's what we ask for you to spend some time on. This is how it's going to go. So, we haven't done a workshop on this, it's not time yet. We want to get your raw understanding of this stuff. So, just like Dr. Tawheed shared his personal, individual story, you notice how even though it was his personal, individual story, it connected to what? A broader community, a broader issue. So it's fine to talk about your personal story. That's good. In fact, we want that to be the starting place. But the additional part of the exercise is, how does that connect to the broader community harm, the broader community harm that you have? You guys, let me say check. Question, you got a question?
Yeah.
Come to the mic if you will, please.
I'm kind of cutting you short because I'm just ready to engage into the topic and stuff like that. So I don't know if you want me to go first when you're done, or
No. So what I want you to do, get to a table, right? No, that's not a table. One of these 5 tables right here.
We got a seat over here. Can I have a question?
They invite you to a seat right here. It's not an individual exercise. Remember, this is a group exercise. Yes.
So my question is, if you have, like let's say for a particular subject, any one of them, let's say housing, if your harms are off the Richter scale, can you just say files?
Can you just say what?
Files. Because I have files.
Good. But what I want you to do.
I don't want to keep it here all day. So that's why I'm asking, should I just say files?
When it comes to your time to talk at your table,
Yes.
maybe do the top 4 or 5. I don't know. You determine what you want to contribute to the group, and then you can also let the group know that, hey, this is the research I've done behind this, and I got files, and that's fine to go into your discussion. That's how I don't want to discount the fact that you've been doing this. In fact, that's what we want. Now, you may not have the files here, but you can definitely.
I got YouTube videos. Let's go.
There you go. Make sure that that's incorporated into your work at your table. Please, don't skip it.
Okay.
Hold on. So I have another question.
Well, you said that the story is important. That's where it starts. So I'm just curious, where do you guys see it in the end? Like, what does the end look like? Yeah, this contributes to us getting.
Yeah, we're not talking about the end right now. We're talking about the right now. We're not talking about the end right now. I get it. You want to understand the end, but
It's just a question.
I'm saying that the question, the answer to your question is, we don't want you to go through this exercise looking at an end in mind. We want you to actually go through the exercise. And we actually want you to go through the exercise in community with your table. Because what you're going to see, what you're going to learn, what's going to emerge is your story, superimposed on other stories. Elements to your story that you really didn't even quite grasp in the same way that somebody else in the community would have grasped. Don't short circuit this process. It's 30 strong minutes. I want you guys to really dig in to connecting your stories, not only with your community story, but connecting your stories at your particular table. Let me take 2 more questions because I want you guys to get started.
Just another historical fact. The Black community filed legislation to make Roxbury an independent city. So from the South End up to Mattapan. In the 80s. Okay. And what he's saying about that redistricting, that means our elders, right now there's a transfer of wealth. The elders are transferring their wealth to the next generation. But Black people, wealth has always been restricted. This wealth transfer.
Let me do this. That's important, but I want you to insert that into your table discussion. All right? Yes, sir. Can I ask you to come to the mic? Because I can't reach my camera. It's a question on the process, because I'm trying to get a question on the process. I want to move everybody into these discussions.
Yes, my name is Victor. I may be missing something. Are we here to find out about reparation? That's what I want to know. You know, I'm under the understanding that folks that have been doing some numbers, punching some numbers, and seeing exactly what it is, you understand, that we should be getting. Because this sounds like some stuff. I mean, it's a good. That's right. Cut the check. It's a good exercise.
Yeah. Well, reparations is more than numbers, right? Reparations is a broad swath, and a lot of us are prepared for the numbers and the check, if you will.
Well, I'm saying this as a homeowner and a property owner and a businessman.
And that's valuable.
Yes.
And that's valuable. What I'm trying to do is what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get community to understand that reparations is not just a number. Reparations is a seriously personal community harm. And as a homeowner, a business owner, and
health, criminal justice, economic opportunity.
Precisely. And you came a little late, and I'm glad that you're here.
Yes.
This is where we started at. And what we're trying to do is
I came a little late, and I'm gonna leave a little early.
Okay.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Appreciate it. All right. So we're gonna move that. We're gonna put 30 minutes up, and we're gonna start. Remember, you gotta have a scribe because we want to capture this, and we want someone to report out from your table.
Okay, can I ask you a question? What is the scribe scribing? Everybody's story?
No, what we want the scribe to do is pull out the connections. So when you guys identify connections in your story and understand that there's community harm, it's not a personal. You're not going to personalize it as a scribe. What you're going to do is you're going to say, here go connections that we saw from our community connections that we saw from our discussions. All right, and go. And if you need help, we're going to be in here around, but you don't need us to talk about your own story and pull the connections.
And I write military. So I'm going to I don't write pages. I take military. You can't tolerate me so loud. Never forget, she said, we can't tolerate loud music. Then the next house I tried to buy, the lady said, also same street, Melville Ave. Right, you don't know where Melville Ave is? Okay, Melville Ave, right near the courthouse. Do what's happening in the courthouse, I used to forget. I took to the house, the house was on dark, and I get price back then, $11,000. So they had to have tried to buy the house. He said, well, maybe it's because of marriage. He said, oh, we just took it. That was my house. But anyway, you will first of all, correct on point. She was judge, a judge. Correction, she was the judge.
Which one did you start?
And I have to go home and get her lunch. So, but anyway, I do want to hear what you will have to say. I'm not gonna stay for the wrap up.
Well, it is so expensive that actually for my life, I'm not gonna put off. I'm just gonna share those positions in the game. So I got to bring my and this is so I ended up with a field inspection to Boston Housing decided not to pay rent. So rent was stopped, tenants, which is two of us, making the inside the park. So we sort of have animals in the yard, we have to see the animals that are uncontrolled, but they were like throughout the city. So we had to call inspections, we had to call police. She retaliated against us and filed the retaliation that she couldn't have. So I was doing the best, but some outside businesses that from my research came from Las Vegas. So now here we have that she lied about owning the house. So she created this lie that she sold the house for $1.6 million. Even though the city of Boston had only assessed this house to be $625,000. Therefore, changing the market of my neighbors and making it impossible for anybody from the neighborhood to own a home. I couldn't let it go do it. So I fought back with the county. So the judges in the Suffolk County Housing Corporation helped her. And the first case I won. The second case, they came at me in a different direction. I came at them in a different direction. I tried to remove her through probate from the dead man's business. And then also filed clear cloud on title and land. Instead of answering the summons, they responded with a transfer to housing. No, a housing court didn't have jurisdiction. So that's when they got involved. The land court allowed it to be transferred, even though I filed objections against the transfer. I filed a motion to strike the request for a transfer. So then the case got lost.
Oh, the jury.
It got lost in the case. It didn't appear under the docket. September 7th, with the lie that there was a proceeding that I attended and others attended, and that we collectively agreed to continue the case. And then on that continued, they said that I wasn't there, and that she dismissed it without prejudice so I could file in the correct court, effectively denying the jurisdiction that they knew that they didn't have. That's as short as I can summarize that help, that the last trial date was April, I think April 18th of this year. And then the decision that they gave me was like, it was like two slaps in the face, the decision that they gave me. The harms for me to be born in Boston, the city of Boston, for me to have gone to Boston Public Schools and pledged allegiance to the flag every single morning. To me, that was taught that racism died with Martin Luther King, that Martin Luther King fixed everything for me. And then for me to grow up and they turn the lights on and I'm surrounded by them with absolutely
no preparation. Nobody prepared me for it. I'm growing up in Kumbaya. I got white friends, black friends, Haitian, African, Jamaican, Cambodian, you name it. We're all friends. And then as an adult, fine, the descendants of the same people that used to roast my ancestors over fires, targeting me. And I'm helpless to it. Everything that they say you're supposed to do, I'm doing, but because they're not following the book, none of it works. Because they're following the whole set of their own laws. Okay? Housing, I took a duty because I realized that if she got away with it, it would change the market value of the whole of Georgia. And it did. Because now when you look at the houses, they're millions of dollars. And what's more important, the house is a piece of crap. So, like this rotten stuff inside the walls, it's probably not even worth $1. And then lastly, I did research on the building because I claimed it myself. And they tried to laugh my claim out of court. When you Google my name, everything comes up, my fights about these people in the court. So, yes, this, what he said, he wanted us to get all in it. This area was an all black business area that were horse breeders. So Franklin Field was a horse track. That was our Suffolk Downs before Suffolk Downs was created. And all the proprietors lived along Google Ave, which might have been called Brush Hill Ave at the time. So unlike when you go downtown and they got all the green flags telling you what this is and what that is, we don't have that at Franklin. The discrimination in housing is astronomical. It's all I said, there's no way that builders of the earth, builders of civilization, and builders of the nation should be in eviction court.
But that's how they interpret it.
So now we're talking about so they push them what we are doing now. Some of us is and those of us, I think those nicer and specifically that lived on the Roxbury South End. Our whole city was red light. My house was impacted like that. I didn't take some once I got out. I didn't understand that I was very, very young. And I was already just looking to Brown versus the Board of
You all know the New York streets, right? The New York streets?
Melton used to live on,
yeah, Albany, Schenectady, all down, because you know Albany Street, there were like 10, they call them the New York streets. Highways came in, they tore down all the New York streets, that's what it's like.
Yeah, well, one of the judges on my case, one of the judges, the racist judges that I was talking about, when I did the research on her, it was found out that not only was she one of the white families that left JP to move to South Boston during the Bustle Wars a couple of years before I was born, but her father was a so-called state rep, and he was sanctioned by the Ethics Committee for stealing from the urban renewal fund to fund a real estate that he gave her shares of, so that she can be a judge over him.
5 minutes.
Seneca Street, that's the name.
Okay, so you have all sent you a board of people you said that are going to
New York Street, Seneca.
So I went to the
I'm sorry, in New York, my mom would not let these people give me no medicine. You know, and so the things that she did with me, to get me away, she knew, I was always good at school. I just think it's, the work wasn't hard. Like you said,
I still hate that.
so I can, all due respect to my mom for she wasn't saying for not letting these people give me any period. Because they try to do the same thing with my
The destruction of black people. It's a book, The Destruction of Black.
That's why I experienced
I said, I didn't say you can't get on homework, but I said if my father do that, my son is not doing homework at home. He's home. I said, he leaves out 8 something in the morning, 8 years old. I don't see him again until after 5 o'clock. He's there like a job. And then you want to give him homework? What are you doing? 40 hours?
Okay, so to recorrect, you worked 5 years in detention. And you worked
13 when you really used to
DYS, yep.
5 years and 13 in the police.
That was called.
They work the same way all the way around. I scored a 97 on that test. Besides, they were 9. I was dealing with it.
Did you see him in traffic? Did you see him in traffic?
No, but there was some stuff going on.
I want to tell my story because it involves her. Okay, so yeah, it involves her. She doesn't know. I do. But I went to the Burke for 2 years. I was bused to South Boston High School. I graduated from the South Boston High School. I went to college. How you doing?
Just like find the table.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Alright, I guess they don't think that table down there.
Here I go. I rent an apartment, a subsidized apartment. And the owners took over the apartment, started being. I have another services. So I called city. I told them about this. I called someone else is complaining about. So I called Tintin, Mass, special services. They came out to the apartment. They wrote them up. They also told me that they deletted my house while we were in here. So they did deletting while I was in there with my 3 children as well. So anyway, they got mad, they retaliated, just like she said they retaliated against me. They went to court and said I didn't pay my rent on the first of the month. I always pay my rent on the 15th month. So they went to court and filed the eviction.
All right. We're gonna move to our share backs now. Let's wrap up our discussions.
Section 8.
Wrap up our discussions.
Section 8. It was in 5 pounds, Winchester.
Let's wrap it up. I think I'm gonna go the opposite direction this time than I went last time. So I'm gonna start over here. Didn't I start over there last time? I started over here last time. Yeah, I'm gonna go opposite.
Each town got 25 certificates. Reading, those 5 pounds.
All right. This is what I need. So, this is the order we're gonna go in. Please have your assigned speaker for your group now. We're gonna go from this table. I'm sorry. I'm going the other way. We started here last time. We're gonna go from this table right here to this table. We're gonna go from this table to that table back over there. We're gonna go from that table right across to you all, and we're gonna end right here. We're gonna end right here. We ended right here last time? All right, that's fine.
That's a good word. That's a good word. Great word.
Let's switch it up a little bit. Okay, I am gonna switch up the side. So, We're going over here first. They put it on you again, Louis? Yeah, I started there first last time. We started there. Come on. Y'all not even switching up. Y'all not even switching. I'm coming to you next, though. Y'all not even switching up the speakers, huh? All right, here we go.
Hi again. So the first thing we talked about was housing, where they mishandle the attendance. Sometimes it's a slum house. And depending on where the housing is, you get more problems than just a little. Second, it was me. I talked about going to the Jeremiah E. Burke and misdiagnosing me. Then when I got to college, I finished within a year. So, also too, I talked about losing my job, and I couldn't even collect housing or food stamps. So just want to go get another one. Oh, sorry. The next thing is about grad school, going from one place to another, like going from the inner city to like a Mecca or something. And how difficult it is where you're going from one world to another and trying to figure it out. And the next.
Did you guys speak at all about how those individual harms connect to like the broader community harm?
I don't think they wrote down what I said, because that's what I talked about, as far as my housing experience in relation to the overall changing of the market of the area from what one person's actions did. So I just covered that.
Okay. The last thing that's on the paper, was about dropping out of school, going to a boarding school, and actually that's working, then going to college. Figuring it out by himself, mentoring, and he just found his place in life. So.
All right, nice. Now, that was a good share back. Let me tell you what I'm looking for to expound upon that. Like I saw, I heard a lot of the individual harm, which is important. But what we ask you to do, what we ask you to do is connect those individual harms to the broader community harm. Like where do those connections happen? Because my educational experience couldn't have been happening to me by myself, right? They had to be happening to me and several others. And if they're happening to me and several others, what collective harm, what collective impact did that have on that particularly affected community? All right. Let me move to the next table, and then we're gonna come back to we're gonna do a wrap up this time on clarifying our understanding. Who's speaking for this table? Sir, you are.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tor Woods. I just wanted to start with saying thank you for having this event for us. At first, I was like, what is it all about? And where is the connection in us venting right now and stuff like that? But as I waited out, I definitely see the connection. We had an interesting group going on, and all of our individual harms definitely ended up connecting. We had a young lady talk about her college experience and how the college was diverse, it was integrated, but how there was still segregation inside of that facility, right? So it was a diverse, biracial college, but there was still segregation, and how the Black community was still facing racism and the effect that had on her. And then we also had somebody who is not African American in our group and was talking about the lack of understanding that other communities or races have And how that affects us because, they might be projecting, their culture on ours because of the lack of understanding they have, about other people's communities and stuff like that. And then we had this wise woman come in and really kind of tie it all together with the root in terms of how it starts with a systematical structure, even from the education to the propaganda of separation, and just how we are classified and restricted of what our communities can get like with the red line because we live in this first class, middle class, wealthy environment. So that was interesting. And then me personally, as a young black man, I feel like all of that is my harm. As a kid, I didn't really recognize the harm. Like I was living in the projects, but my mom, single mother, made sure that I didn't need for anything. So I'm over here walking around like ain't no problem. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy with what I got. I'm not even thinking nothing of it until, you feel me, I guess I grew wiser. And I still see the harm today when I'm walking out in the streets and there's a lack of community, a lack of communication, a lack of understanding. And then there was one saying that kind of stuck with me, and I'll end it on this, was one in mind, many in body. I feel like that would be really helpful for the reparation race, because what I got from you is this kind of meeting is important because it's a conversation of how we can put a case together to even qualify for reparations. So it's like, I guess we're really at the starting point. We don't even have the case yet if I'm wrong. Okay, thank you. And yeah. So appreciate you all, and let's get it going.
Hey, give it up to her. I really appreciate that, like, that evolution and that buy-in and trust in the process. A lot of times it's just people get caught up in like the process. People get caught up, they have this term that's valuable in some settings, but not valuable in all settings. Begin with the end in mind. Anybody ever heard that before? Begin with the end in mind. Like that's valuable in some settings, but it's not valuable in all settings, right? And sometimes we get bogged down because we just want to feel we just want to know what it feels like when we cross the finish line. But really, the work is in the process. You can't shortcut a process that's this complex, right? And when we get to next steps, we'll talk about where we go. I don't want to sidetrack us there because there's a lot to do, and we're going to have some recommended next steps for not only you here in the community, but the task force as well. I'm gonna come to this table. Do we have they put you back up again, huh? All right, here we go. Give it up to you.
So our major impact was around housing, and I'm gonna go into a couple of the individuals and then collectively tell you how it takes back into the whole group. We talk about the loss of our grandfather's housing in actually two individual cases here where the housing was taken by urban renewal. The one particular property included a commercial business and the loss was the trajectory of generational wealth because he had 13 grandchildren. The home was bought, some of them through the GI Bill of veterans, and the father lost 2 homes. And one of them, the mom was not moving, and the other one was a loss, quote unquote, by accident. And the BRA took it, and an extension of that is that they not only destroyed it, but they made the family pay the tax bill or the cleanup to get, for the city to get paid. And at the same time, there were white homeowners, this is probably during the time of white flight, the beginning of white flight back in Boston. And they claimed that they couldn't find any of the family members. And there's a question about how much effort did they put into trying to find somebody, when in fact there are generations that still live there. So we talk about heir property, which leads to the education and losing property based on not knowing the laws around wills, and if you don't have a will, et cetera, et cetera. Then we talked about modern day ways of losing homes through increased property taxes, outpricing people on fixed or social security and limited retirement money. And this overall goes into the community harm of the gentrification, the loss of community, and leading to homelessness, especially against the elderly.
Amen, thank you.
Some of these properties right here in Boston include the Charlemagne Gardens, Warren Gardens, Madison Park, the so-called South End, Reggie Lewis right here where we are today, across the street, Roxbury Community College, and some of them are sitting on stolen land, or the community in historical terms feels like they include stolen land. We talked about social justice with churches, especially historical churches in the Boston area, that Trinity Church right down at Copley, and many of these other churches in this area being built and profiting off of the black people that were enslaved and the slave trade, which ties into the economics. Health, mental health. We talk about self-degradation and how we need to start respecting each other. The things that we've been impacted by in our childhood, molestation, rejection from brothers and sisters in the community, how we treat each other even today, the drugs that were brought into the communities, specifically to mentally disable us from holding jobs, which ties back into the housing. If you don't have a job, you can't pay a mortgage. It all ties together.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
This table did an excellent job of trying individual harms to the collective, the community. Like this is a basic exercise, right? But it's difficult for people to do it when you're thinking about some destination that you're in. No, you have to dig down into this. Like, we just scratched the surface. We haven't talked about harms in significant way. That's a whole other thing. And you can't do calculations without understanding harms. I'm not talking about surface level understanding harm. It's a lot that goes into this, and I just don't want people to like look at this process as superficial, because it's not. All right, I'm gonna come to this table, and I'm gonna end with this table back here.
Okay, so our table really didn't get into in-depth stories on a personal level. However, we all seem to came to the same conclusions about how these harms are affecting our community on a broader level. So the first thing that was mentioned was the lack of proper education in the city of Boston, and that's totally agreeable. And then also for my aspect of it, the fact that integration by the MECO program going into other communities, getting an education that's not being offered into this community, then further forces you to assimilate, and you have lack of culture and not being able to mingle with your own community. And that's something I personally have had suffered when I was a kid. Blocked out of economic, social, and political empowerment. stripped of language, culture, which breeds self-hate, and that's been a historical thing for us in our community because we don't have any attachment to our original culture from Africa as we were kidnapped and human trafficked. And it's always been the American dream, always living up to keeping up with the Joneses or, the White House, picket fence, whatever, and not necessarily having the tools and resources and the education of what our culture was. The biggest thing that we seem to think that has affected the community is codependency. The gentleman said that we're always dependent to a system or we're always dependent to a government, and it kind of makes a lot of sense. And so we have a last question. How do we embrace control of our lives, narrative, and resources? And then the final statement that was made was being more conscious of the system and the structure makes us better to navigate it. And I think that that's the problem. We don't really know the system and we sleep on it. And so when you try to get people involved with the community engagement, and when you try to get them into politics, they don't want to get involved with it, but then that's what's missing. If you're not at the table, if you don't know how to play the game, it's like Monopoly, then you're going to lose. And so I myself in the community constantly telling people, you have to get involved, you have to get involved, you have to learn this game, you have to stay on top of things, and that's where we're losing. We don't want to be involved because for some reason it's not interesting, but this is our life, this is how laws are made, these are our policies are put in place, and this is why our voices are being heard. So collectively, overall, on a broader level, we're injuring our own self by not uniting, not mobilizing, and not learning how to play the game of Monopoly.
Thank you. All right, my man, so everyone of you back again, huh? Okay, there you go. Here we go.
Hey everyone, my name's Raymond. We had some really great conversation on various different arms. One of the ones that we talked about with education was this idea of the brain drain that the city teaches its youth to leave its own neighborhood and communities to obtain a better education, and recognizing the effect on both the youth as to what that communicates and tells them about their own communities, and the return of investment in Black communities. We also, in discussing about health, talked about really the disparities that were really highlighted during COVID, and also a lack of, in addition to that, a lack of disrespect to elders, and what does that also mean in terms of a lack of wisdom and investment within the communities. Talking about housing, we talked about the impact of redlining and seizures, home seizures, and really what that does in the long term in terms of financial impacts, but also the mental health impact on families, on having to find a home and having to figure out next steps, and the intergenerational trauma that creates. But then they came into another conversation about this focus on disparity versus inequity, and recognizing that inequities really come from intentional acts by decision makers, and that the only way that those things are promulgated and further is the fact of impacted communities not having the knowledge in order to change those issues. And then also centering around another conversation on those with transplants, feeling that sense of inequity and feeling when moving into Boston, but decentering off of transplants and focusing on Black Bostonians means recognizing what does that mean growing up in that environment and experiencing that on a daily occasion. So yeah.
Okay, this is what we need to do. We need to do a little reset because we're going into probably the most difficult as far as synthesis of the process for today. First thing I need to do is all of our new people that did not participate in one of these sessions, can you raise your hand so we can get you assigned to a table? Good. 1, 2, 3. Any more? I thought I saw some over here. Guys. Huh? Okay. I'm going to ask you 3, if you would. I'm going to ask 1 to go to this, well, actually 2 to go to this table. You leave me. We need you on this one. That's fine. I got you. Okay. Can I get 2 to come to this table? And can I get 1 to come to this table? 2 in the front. I mean, all 3 in the front. 1 on this table, 2 on this table. Now, this will be the last one that we ask you to actually put some time into, and then we'll have some time at the end to discuss this. But this particular one is it's gonna require you guys to lock in, all right? So let's go over this one. So this exercise. So based on today's shared learning, right? We spent a lot of time on scratching the surface on harms. We scratched the surface on how our individual impact can, I know it's hot in here, right? It's our individual impact it connects to our collective impact. But this is what I need you to do at this table, at your table this time. Remember, it could be more, it could be less, but we have used 5 harms, right? 5 harm areas, right? Collectively, let's talk about the 5 harm areas. Which ones? Well, just name them. Housing, one. Hold on. I got housing, health, education, economics, and social justice, right? So if you want, I hope you got those written down. Economics, education, health, housing, social justice. Have those written down at your table, because they're not going to be on the screen. Economics, I'm just doing the alphabetical order. Economics, education, health, housing, and social justice. All right? Those are the 5 harm areas. Now, what you're going to try to do at your table is you're going to collectively attempt to craft a concise harm that your entire table has come to a consensus on. Meaning that you all got to come to a consensus on this single harm, right? But in Boston, it's not impossible. That's why you're gonna do a harm statement for each and every one of those areas. So look, you have 5. Listen, you have 5 concise harm statements to attempt to craft at your table. 1 in education, in economics. 1 in education. 1 in health. 1 in housing. 1 in social justice. You guys have talked about these all day today, right? But all I'm trying to do is get you all to work together to distill it down to 1. 5, 10, 15, one per harm area. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We should have 30. This is the power up, what I'm talking about. We should have 30 harm statements in each category at the end of this 30 minutes.
So each table is picking 1?
No. Let me go back through it again. Let me go back through it. Everybody lock in for me one time. Lock in with me one time. At your table, based on everything we've discussed today, you're going to craft a concise harm statement for every single harm area. So you're going to finish with 5 harm statements. Now,
per table, right?
it's just a sentence or a couple sentences. All right. I'm coming to you, Miss Gray. What we're trying to get you to understand is the work that community has to do in order to crystallize these harms. In actuality, there will actually be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of harms, right? But that's not your work to do. Your work today is just to take a stab at crafting a single harm for each of the 5 harm areas. Dr. Sahi, you have something to add?
Let me put it in the break it down.
Can you give us an example?
Well, okay. There are interrogatives. Right? You've heard that term. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. Right now, you can't talk about how unless you were in the process, unless you were involved in the process. For example, Red Line, as an example, we've used that example. You didn't create those maps. So you weren't in the room when they were created. Well, if someone was in the room, then they should tell us how it was done. And they might be able to tell us why. You know, I mean, we know the why, right? Well, maybe we don't know the why. But you have a general idea. But we're trying to make a case here. And you can't go in court saying, I think this person did this because. You have to have evidence. Now, but you don't need a how and why to make a case. What you need is a who, a what, a where, and a when. The where is Boston. The when is whatever time frame this happened in. So I remember growing up in Philly, seeing folks shooting and throwing bricks at buses, busing in Boston. Right. That's a when, that's a where. Who, right? Now, understand, this is the Boston Reparations Task Force. So it can't be Joe Blow down the street did something. It's got to be the city of Boston. That's the who. So it's already, the who is already there. The where is already there. The when you'll figure out. And the how is, well, we don't know how, it's what happened. Right, so you have to describe what happened, who did it, the city of Boston, when and where, the city of Boston. So you really have to work on, what, two things. What and who, what and when, right? Now, understand, in a legal case, if you can show how, and particularly if you can show why, then there's malice and intent. So in a legal case, if you slip and fall on someone's ice on the sidewalk, that's negligence, right? You can sue them for that and get paid. If they deliberately put water out on the street for it to freeze, for you to fall, that's intent. And that's intentional harm. And what the law allows is 3 times the damages. But proving why is difficult. Start with who, what, when, and where. Okay, for a harm. Right? We'll start with that. Yes, ma'am.
I just have two things. What category does human trafficking over 500 million of our ancestors died coming over here during the transatlantic slavery? So what category does the murder of our people, the slaughter of men, women, and children, the selling of our ancestors at Faneuil Hall Slave Marketplace, what category does those things come in?
That's exactly what you do at your table. That's your work. That's exactly your work. Hey, it's fine. Listen, y'all, listen. Come on, family, come with me. Remember I said in our agreements in the beginning that there are ands and ors. More ands than ors. I said be open. Right? And I said peek outside of your silo. You have a table full of value, intellectual value. That's important in this process. That is a magnificent question. I want you to answer it. I want you to have that discussion at your table. I want you to craft a statement around that. What area does that's a question for your team. What area does that go in? Does it go in economics? Does it go in education? Or health, housing, social justice? Where does it go?
That's not a question for the city. All this is supposed to be based on today's shared learning, and we did not share that earlier.
No. When I say today's shared learning, meaning that the things that you learned about harm areas today. right? You learned about the three reparative processes, right? This is the challenge. This is the challenge for us, family. The challenge is, in order to bring this to fruition, there's work that we have to do to really understand our challenge. You can't just say we were trafficked for 500 years and think somebody's going to just show up and say, oh, I'm sorry. Because if that would have happened, it would have happened a long time ago. What I'm challenging us to do, family, is to be responsible for understanding our harms ourselves. Remember I said there are no simple solutions. So I don't want you to take this and make it a platitude that we've heard all of our lives, right? Struggle with this question. Like I said, I think that's an excellent exercise. I want to see what the table comes up with if they decide to go that direction. But all we're asking you to do is at your table, attempt to craft a concise harm that your table has come to a consensus on. And we want you to do one for each harm area. And at the end, we're going to hear all of these harms. The more concise, the better. I'm going to start the clock now. If you have a challenge, just raise your hand. We'll come, one of us will come over and talk through it with you. No problem.
So, Barcelona complaint, right after that. So, I summarize the categories. Oh, no. So, they have the categories they put on the screen, which education. I know, I heard the injury of economic. So, you're putting down the human trafficking, capturing, the murder of black people, the enslavement of black people. So we need to summarize each category. Where? Correct. Slavery became legal. That's not true. Boston built. Boston had over 300 was the main port for slaves. Boston sailors sailed to Africa over 300 times, 300 voyages, trading molasses for African people. You asked me, Boston had a manual of the trader. Okay, so this is Boston history. We have Faneuil Hall, Rocket. The history shows that was a slave market. Okay. Sailors completed over 300 voyages to Africa. In Boston, they made rum and molasses. Correct. They brought that in. They had indigenous Indian people. They brought some of them with them to Africa and traded all of that for African slaves. They did over 300 voyages. Boston not only did that, they supplied enslaved people to all the New England states.
states. So the shipping industry was built here. The rum and molasses was enslaved people worked in those manufacturing. Yes. So it's documented. Every household in Boston had slaves. Boston, New England. Let's put New England.
Education. So if we don't know that history,
No, that's not.
well, people need to be educated when they visit. No, so one second, let me finish. Because when people visit Faneuil Hall, no, because I took my youth last week and they never even heard of Faneuil Hall. They never even tell people that slaves were sold at Faneuil Hall.
There's an
But
exhibit
you
right there
have
now.
to include it in the education of our children.
Exactly.
And in order for the community to know. You understand what I'm saying? So what she's saying,
We don't know that.
We
We were brought in elementary school. That's right. We were brought in elementary school. We were brought to Faneuil Hall. They have a hall where they have great speeches and stuff. We never knew that that was a slave market.
And we got 5 topics. But we can't take off age. No, so there's 5 categories, all right? So there's 5 categories. How we include that in the categories, we come up with a statement that's what you're seeing in a category. So we can come up with a statement and then put that statement in the specific category.
Help me list all the categories. I have education, I have criminal justice,
Housing,
And we all have
economic. So those are 5. Education, criminal justice, economic, health, and housing. So these are the categories that they have on the screen. Where would human trafficking
Reparations, that's
where under which of these categories First of all, we have
So we've already learned 6 minutes or so. You should be crafting a statement in one area so far. Right. This is hard work.
They're debating. We're listening. You know, sometimes it's easier to listen and form an opinion.
I'm just trying to get the gist of it.
People trying to figure out what's really going on because a lot of the conversation, people come into it. So where are we really going with this? What is the end goal? And how much longer are we going to sit and wait for the reports to be properly filed? Because from what I understand, they still haven't put out the reports. It's going on over a year.
He's an intern. He's an intern.
From miseducation in segregated classrooms to underfunded schools, Boston, Black American freedom, to not Black because masculine, we are always using less alcohol. We need to use American freedom and reparations and I want to try to put it in the sentence. I want for how they told us to answer these questions, which is how the individual harm flows into the collective. I would like to say as the individual harm that
used the Bill Gates, right? They put computers in our schools, and today we can't live without them. And they didn't give us anything. They practice on us in schools like guinea pigs. Anything that they want to market out to the world, they start with us in school. Whether it be our lunch that we eat, the products that we use, they did not have parental consent to bring these computers in. And now, IBM, and I'm finishing up, IBM and Macintosh is now one of the leading world powers, and how much are they giving us?
So how can we bring that into the sentence?
Exploitation.
Wait a minute, let me just get this sentence.
It goes into exploitation and education.
So I think segregation, I won't say segregation, but I think you brought up special education, right? And how students were redirected in special education, misdiagnosis.
Boys, males, all black children, particularly black males, are
We're going to talk about
okay, that would be understood. So maybe just the in special education.
No, we want to have to get we gotta get past. Okay, so we're gonna add that.
The harmless special education, right?
Right now, in the whole country, black children are not raised in 5 years.
On a third grade level. The dropout rate is
systemic exploitation.
Let me say something real quick. Let me pause everybody for 1 second. I'm gonna pause everyone for 1 second. Pause. If I pause, it's gonna start over. I'm not gonna start. Listen. It's important. It's important. I was at this table. I was at the table, and they gave me a point of clarity. Right? I'm gonna add the time back. Listen. Don't look at this as you're making a broad harm statement for each one. It's not a harm statement for all economics. It's not a harm statement for the whole state of education. The more specific you can be about a harm, like that table talked about their, in the last round, talked about their father and grandfather losing their house because of policies. Narrow it down to a single harm. They had a harm statement on economics, which was good, but it was so broad that I could pull out 1,000 individual harms out of it. That's not what you want to do. You want to narrow it to a single harm. A single harm in each area. All right? I took a single harm. So take one of your examples that you used in the last round. You guys just come to a consensus on a single harm and write a statement on a single harm. I don't want you to be broad. I want you to be very narrow. And I'm adding two minutes to your time. It's a struggle. I want you to grapple with this. I want you guys to struggle and grapple with this. This is the part of the process.
And come on, let's finish the sentence. Come on. Finish your statement. Boston includes a lot of areas that's not
That's 20,000. There's 27 children in each class.
They're not giving us a teacher. They're not giving us I'm a teacher. They're not. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. I can teach you how to read and write.
It doesn't take you to read and write. I teach kids to read. That's my preschool class at 3 and 4 was reading. Oh, you're saying 3 years old, 4 years old, everyone. No. Teacher is a professional. They went to college just like him. College good teachers.
Okay, so you give us the education on that.
So here's my here's the sentence for education. Black children are not reading by 3rd grade, and black males are the only males in America without a trade. We came to this country with trades so we could build. I really was. My uncle.
She got some interesting stuff to say.
My father's brothers, my mother's brothers, everyone who was trades. They took trade. Every school in Boston, junior high school, had shopping. They had drafting. They had woodworking. They had every junior high school place. They took that out. Now, black males today are the only males. These migrants come over here. Where's they come from? They are.
Okay, so segregated colleges
They don't have to go find
Boston has denied black children equal education. Reparations demands investment in knowledge, opportunity.
That's it.
Period. All right, next one. Let's go. Next one is
the city of Boston did a diversity research and found that Google City of Boston diversity report. The city of Boston did a diversity report and found that black people only get 1% of city contracts and were $8. Google City of Boston diversity. They told us everything the government do, the government buys something, they roll it out in the contract. I'm not ready because I'm so confused. Okay, so I'm educating you this because you weren't taught this. But you weren't taught this information.
maybe he wasn't even in a Boston public school. You just discriminated.
No, I did not. He said he went to the birth.
Well, maybe now his whole life, maybe high school, maybe 1 year. Didn't you say you went to Mexico? Oh, I came in at the tail.
And the fact that Boston, no, but we don't have to prove this one because the city, I know what I'm saying. This is something in economics we don't have to prove. Because the city of Boston did their own report and found that, their own diversity report and found that black people only are worth $8 and we only get 1% of the city contract.
So the economic farm, the one out of all the money. So I think it's great to give a perfect example of throughout all of the contracts they have, only 1% of the contracts expended were to black and minority. Yeah.
Just trying to get a job, I always have to do the phone shop.
And my daughter was just like,
don't look bad, but you're not good.
Okay, so listen, go home, Google prayer reports and see all the contracts. You don't have to have a business, you can be an individual. You only need one thing, a vendor ID. They show you how to log in and get one. You can apply for any of those contracts.
A lot of people have ideas that they want to
That goes to anyone who applies for it. But we don't know about it, so how could we apply for it? We weren't aware of it.
What are you using this for? You taking pictures of like It'll be on my YouTube channel. You see it on there. Yeah, you watch it. I know you watch it. You see it on there. I don't just do crime scenes. Like where, I know you used to see me in the street, but I'm here now. But this will be up there. Yeah, you got it. Good seeing you. Take care. You want to be on YouTube? You're already on there anyway. Yeah, you are. I got you on there. Take care.
In a few minutes. We gotta go to the recount tomorrow.
She
They
said
cancel.
that. Yeah, she said it. Okay, honey, I'll be here.
Black people are not rated by third grade.
Yeah, the one right behind right next to the rocks. The other block. Right by Steve.
You can do that. Community members like you. This practice, I've been volunteering for 20 years. I'm done. I'll see you.
We ran out of time. Hold on. It's not over. It's not over. Give me your attention for a half second. And I'm gonna give you a few minutes more to wrap up. All right? But just give me your attention for a second. How many people are experiencing frustration trying to come up with a harm statement, a concise harm statement? Okay. How many people got 5 harm statements concise and y'all table just knocked it out? How many? How many got 3 harm statements done? Good. How many got 1 harm statement done? Okay. That's good. Listen. I'm extending the time for 5 minutes. I want you to pull on the thread that you are most likely to get a concise harm statement and consistency around at your table. 5 minutes. Pick the one that you absolutely can get done in 5 minutes. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna share. 5 minutes.
Say it again.
Mandisha Arma.
Mandisha Arma. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, you can Google me and all my stuff.
I'm trying to find it. It has all the history and the deep. You gonna write it down?
You got it?
So that's my name everywhere.
Okay, and I just look it up later on. Look it up and see what I see.
Oh, you'll love it. I would like for you to comment to me on what you think.
Okay, sure, I will.
I have everything on there for children, for intellectuals. I have reparations and finance playlist, a reparations watch playlist.
Okay.
And what happened with me and my son when they dropped them on the delivery.
It's easy for them Jews.
Including that's
It's
also
not easy for the blacks. Let's be real. It's not easy for the blacks, but it's easy for others.
I'm definitely gonna look it up. I'm External Affairs Porter, so you see me leave some comments on it. External Affairs Porter.
External Affairs?
That's me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they invited me over there maybe a couple of months ago. I think I got the guy's card. Yeah, but what happened to me at 967 Blue Ave?
What happened to we'll talk about it later.
A lot. What's your name, Nez?
Neza, hold on, I'll give you.
It was horrible.
I am very encouraged by the way you guys are going in this assignment. I know that it's hard.
Yeah, if you Google
I
me
know that it's
first,
difficult.
then even some of my court cases are coming.
Okay.
Because I'm in court with them.
Oh, okay.
And that's why, like, one of the meetings that I announced, one of Kevin's meetings, I told the whole audience, they trying to jump me at the courthouse.
Wow.
We all went.
That's crazy.
So these like little things where they holding our hands and stuff like that. But I'm losing life force that I need for my own children and grandchildren. I'm losing, messing with them. So give me my down payment at $800,000, and then see me later, and we'll talk about the rest.
I hear you.
My aim is to show and encourage and create awareness over reparations by showing it to them, presenting it to them in real time, including taking all types of tests beforehand, and then taking tests that they have to go through. And then if I'm going to the bottom of the $800 at the end, but I don't think I'm going to the bottom. I think I'm going the other way.
Keep fighting, don't give up.
$800,000. Thank you.
Plus interest.
And bring it on in. Bring it on in. Okay, let me get your attention. Let me get your attention for a second. Let me get your attention. I know you guys are knee-deep in harm statements.
Got it.
I know you're knee-deep in harm statements, and I love it.
All right.
And I love it.
A lot of wealth of knowledge
Trust
over
me,
here.
I guarantee that 50% of the people in here don't have a dream tonight about a harm statement. I guarantee you. All right, listen up. Listen up. Can we bring it in? Can we bring it in? All right, this is the question I have. This is the question I have. What tables, by show of hand, was able to get at least one concise harm statement done? Table here, two, 3 tables, 4 tables, 5 tables. Great. All right, this is what we're gonna do. I want you to designate who's going to read your harm statement.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
We're going to designate who's going to read your harm statement.
Okay, cool.
And we're not going to go all the way around and then talk about
Subscribe to my channel?
We're
Oh,
gonna listen
okay.
to one harm statement, and then we're
Just
all
recently?
going
Oh, okay.
to pitch in on that harm statement. Right? Dr. Tahi, all of our team, we're going to pitch in on that, and then we're going to have time for you to kind of sharpen your colleague table harm statement as well. All right? Okay.
You got some good content on there.
I get good content on there?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep putting more up there.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's...
Who's courageously want to go first?
All right.
Courageously want to go first. Okay, here we go. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. First tell us what area it is.
Okay, our area is actually.
Everybody has to listen because I'm going to want you to contribute.
our area's housing. And our harm statement is repairing harms of redlining, predatory lending, and displacement by creating a path to home ownership and looking at housing as a human right.
Dr. Robinson, Dr. Tawhid, I'm gonna give you guys first stab at it now. All of you guys, you're gonna listen to Dr. Tawhid, Dr. Robinson, you're gonna listen to their analysis on the harm statement, and I want you to think about how you can sharpen their particular harm statement yourself. No. One's gonna be fine.
So what I hear in that harm statement is good policy. Okay, so I'm sure I will not disagree with anyone's harm statement in general, right? But a harm statement is not a fixed statement, it's a harm statement. How that's going to be fixed is first you establish the harm, right? You go to your doctor and you say, doc, I'm feeling bad. He says, okay, take these pills. Well, he doesn't even know why you feel bad. So you need to know first what the illness is, what the harm is, okay? And so I heard it in the context of redlining, and I don't know who, what, when, or where, right? I assume you're talking about redlining in Boston. I assume you're talking about redlining when it was legal, but then also, as Matthew said, it continued on even though it was made illegal, so that time frame there, right? What happened, and we're talking about the city of Boston's culpability here, so when was the city, I don't want to go into how, but I do want to talk about who in the sense of what was the responsibility of the city of Boston in that, because redlining starts as a private enterprise. But the city allows it to happen, complicit in it, because they created policy and law ordinances that allow people to do this. That has to be in the harm statement, who, what, when, and where. Right?
So there's lawsuits, there are lawsuits that happen in Boston around. So people can Google the lawsuits, because today we have
first-time home buying classes. First-time home buying classes came out of a lawsuit where you mentioned, what you mentioned? You mentioned three things. You mentioned redlining and predatory lending. So out of the predatory lending lawsuit where they stole black elderly homes, the settlement was first-time home buying classes. So there is a lawsuit surrounding
and so there's already harm statements out there that you could use.
Dr. Robinson, you have anything?
I'm just replying to
I don't think it's directly related, but I've been to a couple tables and I see this theme of disruption come up a lot. All right, so you got redlining, then you got a renewal, then you got the freeway, then you got predatory lending. There's always a disruption, and I don't know how you build a community when next week, hey, we're tearing down this section of town. Thanks, see you later. But I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. But I've seen that pop up. I think at every table I've been to. This now gentrification. They're getting cancer.
That's why it's important to be specific. Because I'm telling you, when you guys hear each other, you're going to see how, that connects to that. That connects to that. Everything is going to connect. So the more specific you can be, the better off you are. You guys ready to go next?
No, I'm not a lawyer, but I watch enough law on TV to know how lawyers make class action suits. Somebody has an injury. They didn't find out how many other people have had that same injury. Then they make the case. right? So if you've had a personal experience that you can connect to other people's personal experience, that is the basis for a case. But you do have to be specific. Who, what, when, and where.
You got a question?
No, he's had a statement, just to catapult to what does he say?
I'm gonna have to ask you.
How I look at my community with all the community activism I've done for 40 years. I classify it like this. I collected the dots. I connect the dots to collect the dots.
Collect the dots to connect the dots.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's what I've been doing.
Hey.
So that's what we're doing here.
You guys hear that? I think this is a fascinating analogy. She said she's collecting the dots. Like in her 40 years of acting, she's been collecting the dots so she can connect the dots.
Oh, wow.
Give your name so we can properly attribute it.
The one and only Dr. Marlene M. Campbell.
Hold on. I want you to put it in the mic.
The one and only the Dr. Marlene M. Campbell, and the MM stands for good.
Select the dots to connect the dots. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna ask this table. This is what I'm gonna ask this table to do. I'm gonna ask this table in the light of the feedback, refine. Oh, you already did? You ready? Is ready for showtime? Okay. Refine it, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna look back in. Everybody's gonna have to refine it. Trust me. All right. Who's next? Courageous. Okay, we're going back to this table back here. Let me hear this harm statement. Now, you've heard the feedback. If your harm statement lacks that same feedback, you can use this time to tighten it up, to clean it up. Yep. Here we go.
Alrighty, so our table, we also ended up focusing on housing, but we ended up kind of also dipping into the economic aspect as well, because that is very unavoidable. But we have, under the guise of building highways, the city of Boston stole homes from Black community members in mid-1950s South End Roxbury to stifle wealth generation, destroy community interconnection through forced displacement, and to trap multiple generations in unending cycles of traumatic instability.
Give it up for her. So far, that is a on-point harm statement. The best one I've heard so far. I've only heard two, but they're tightening theirs up. Anything to tighten, make theirs stronger. Dr. Robinson, Dr. Tully.
I would say that I hear 5 well-articulated harm statements there, right? So you started out with housing as it relates to economics, you went to education, you went to, was there a health freeway, you know. But you did give a who, a where, a when, and a what. But you got more than one of them there,
So you see that when we say narrow, you know what I mean? If your harm statement, you can get 5 out of it, that just means it's too broad, and what you want to do is narrow it. Because let me just preview down the line. The reason why you're narrowing it down is because you're gonna have to go deep on every single one of them, right? To tighten it up, you're gonna have to go deep on every single one of them. So who said earlier I got files? Was that you? Said I got files? Yeah, files, right? So if you got files on 5 harms, it can get unwieldy. You're gonna have 5 files on one single harm, and guess what? You're gonna release those other harms for others to get files on. So you don't wanna shortchange one of the harms because you got too many in there. All right? Yes, sir. Question.
You just said that her statement was too broad because it captured more than one of these problem areas. But what if you looked at her statement from a different perspective? If you looked at it from a fair housing perspective, which then encapsulates all 5 of the categories. So fair housing sort of intersects across economics, education, health, housing justice, social injustice, and housing. So the statement I guess in some sense, when you look at it from a fair housing perspective, that can be a harm statement.
Okay, let me put it into an organizing term, all right? In organizing, we have this term that we call cutting an issue, right? And the reason why we cut an issue is so we can get our arms around it, right? So, let me give you an example. Fair housing. Fair housing is equivalent to a loaf of bread, just out the oven, out the pan, right? A loaf of bread just out the oven, out the pan, it's fully formed. If I had a picture of a loaf, I would put it up there, but you guys can imagine what a loaf looks like, right? It hasn't been sliced, it hasn't been nothing, right? When it's cool enough to get out the pan, you just plump it on the bacon tray. Like my grandmother used to have a bacon tray. She would pump the bread on the bacon tray. Guess what? You couldn't make a sandwich with that big loaf of bread. Why? Because in order to make a sandwich, what do you need? You need the bread to be sliced so it's useful, right? So when we say things like fair housing, it's like the loaf of bread. Yeah, it's important. It has a lot of ingredients inside of it, but it can't be useful to you until you slice it down to a single issue, right? So our exercise here today is to get us in the habit of slicing these issues down to just narrow pieces so that a sandwich can be made, right? The whole loaf is valuable, even those little end pieces that y'all should throw away, right? We get in trouble for throwing away, but
when I was saying that you had 5 articulated harm statements there, that wasn't a critique. That was saying you could take that statement and divide it into 5 statements, right?
And that's what we're I'm coming to you. And that's what we're trying to get community to understand. That we have to look at this stuff in like a granular way. So the encouragement for her is that, yeah, she has a good statement and it can be refined a little bit more. Because if she can pull 5 harms out of that, you know what that means? That means that it's 5 other groups that could be working on something just in that simple harm statement. So the attempt to narrow them down is so that they can be really dug into in a nice little small research group like these tables are, right? You're gonna be looking at time factors, right? Time factors. You're gonna be looking at, what was you guys' housing? Yeah, you're gonna be looking at housing patterns. You're gonna be looking at something, but you got a small little research group, but you guys got such a tight research topic that you guys can do it within your group. All right, who's ready for the next one?
I have a
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. These are statements or questions? I don't want to.
Just 2 things. When you said files, that I said I have files, I'm just clarifying.
Okay.
They're not just files, they're docket numbers. You can Google my name and you can see how many beefs and fights I got with the city of Boston and the Commonwealth.
Gotcha.
Over these same issues.
Gotcha. What I took from that is that you got a lot of background information. Yeah,
I
docket.
represent myself. Docket.
Content. Gotcha.
Only thing missing is the degree, baby. That's it.
That's it.
And they're gonna give it to me by the time it's over.
All right, you got to your statement?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next statement. See what your refinement. Oh, sorry. Your refinement one is trying to pull out even one out of here. Right, here we go.
Hello, Miss Grace. Hello, Miss Campbell. We have to say, always recognize our seniors. Yes. They're walking librarians. We must learn from them. We're focused on education. So the Boston Public School budget is $40 billion a year, $30,000 per student. The Boston Public Schools is 80% black. Black children are not reading by 3rd grade, and black males are the only males in America without a trade. Boston Public Schools removed trades out of all of the junior high schools, closed Girls Trade High School, and Boys Trade High School.
Hey, give it up, give it up, give it up. Now, you guys have heard about, you guys heard of 2 previous analyses. Now, you guys give me analysis of this group statement. Yes.
Education, right? I like to talk about something that happened in my life during the busing situation. I'm going back to like 1976 when I was going busing from South Boston to Roxbury to Charlestown. Because see, I believe today that my father was a freedom fighter. And the reason why I say that because he was a bus driver at that time. And he got murdered because he got into a fight over at Carson Beach in the 70s because of busing. They never talk about my father. At that time, he had to go to court, he had to go to jail because he fought for the kids in the city of Boston to go to school in South Boston, Charlestown, all them other schools, and we couldn't get bused to. And I remember going to South Boston, they busing the school buses, and nobody never knew my father's name. My father's name was Orange Cox Jr.
Say his name.
Orange Cox Jr. And he's in the archive. If you go to the library, you can look up the year when the busing happened and some of the people that got murdered through that process, which is kind of kept on the down low, because it's been buried for so many years. So my father was a freedom fighter for the Boston Public Schools. They never talked about him. They never recognized him. Until this day, it's been almost 50 years. But February was one of the anniversaries of his death. So, that's why I always try to teach these kids to get an education, because you don't know what and how we're going to have to keep fighting to keep standing on these buses in these different areas when they don't want us.
Thank you. Hold on. I need you guys to focus. We are not continuing. We're refining her statement. What's your analysis on her statement? Do anybody have analysis on her statement? You have analysis on her statement?
We talk about the lack of education. To me, this community needs to be engulfed in education, and I'm personally going to do something about it. Because I'm tired of our people not knowing certain basic things. They amaze me. You remember Louise Day Hicks, don't you? Racist. Racist hell. Didn't want niggas up in South Boston. I've had to tell people
She
that.
wasn't a racist, she was a patriot for her people.
Oh, that's a nice.
That's right. She was a patriot. Let's give it up to her. She stood up for her community over there. That's racist. That's not racist. That's love. She was Irish. She stood up for her Irish people. Like we stood up for our people.
Let me stop right there, because I don't want to. Hold on. I don't want it to devolve and miss the analysis. Let me tell you. Hold on. I love it. But let me do this so we don't sidetrack. Let me tell you the analysis I have for this one. I heard about, just like that, it was a good statement, but I heard about 3 or 4 harms. I heard a harm about 3rd grade reading. I heard a harm about boys in trades. I heard a harm about girls in trades. I heard a harm about lack of people in trades in general, right? So my encouragement to this group is to even narrow it down even finer. Narrow it down even finer. All right? All right, who's next? I want to get through your statements. All right, here we go. Next statement. You can come back and get her statement.
Okay, so economics. This is our statement on economics. MAC. We know that as Black enslaved people that we have historically been denied wealth generationally and economically. Former mayors here in Boston have intentionally disinvested in Black communities, and even still today.
Come on.
Displacement of Black businesses through the same responses, practices, and playbook applied to housing. Racial discrimination, colorism related to class and classism. Harm is generational loss of wealth due to businesses that were forced to close.
What are we gonna, let me ask you, what are we gonna say? What are we gonna say? You should know by now. At least, I counted more. Yes, right. That's right. So okay, good. So I heard you talk about practices with an S on the end. If you say practices, you already know you lining up multiple things, right? What is the practice that you want to focus on? That was on. Let me see your piece again. Which one was it? This one. Racial discrimination. Racial discrimination is like the loaf of bread. It's not sliced. Colorism is like a loaf of bread. It's not sliced. Harm. What's that? Harm is generational. Harm is generational. Say three things.
Harm is generational, loss of wealth due to businesses that were forced to close.
Right, businesses that were forced to close. Where? Why? What business sector are we talking about? Are we talking about small businesses on XYZ street because of XYZ? Like, listen, you guys, it is too broad, right? It's too broad. You have to narrow it down. Say, look, that's the difficult. That's the difficulty. If you just go by big, broad, interconnected things, you'll get the result that we always get. People just having speeches about big, broad problems. We don't solve big, broad problems. We solve issue by issue, single issue by single issue by single issue to eliminate big, broad, systemic problems. All right, hold on. Let me get this last one.
So our statement is a lack of a centralized financial literacy program in the city of Boston. That's the statement. And what I wrote after that, just for like context, is the absence of a centralized, equitable financial literacy program has contributed to the ongoing cycles of economic dispowerment, particularly among low-income communities and Black communities. Without coordinated access to reliable, culturally relevant financial education, many residents are left without the tools to navigate personal finances. And the examples I gave for that is budgeting, credit, savings, investing, debt management, and home ownership. Life insurance is it. So the statement is separate from the actual context. Just one thing.
Right. So what I think has I hope that we have showed you is how incredibly difficult it is for broad-based community to get their brains around how overarching and wide-reaching these issues are. Do you agree with me or no? Right? Did anybody think this is just a simple deal?
I do.
Huh? Like just who's another? It's simple?
Yeah.
I want to say simple, but I also think there is nuance in that
Mhm.
because what I just mentioned there is one particular issue that actually has been in the city of Boston. So as recently as 2024, the city of Boston actually was trying to push for financial literacy. And also the state was trying to do the same thing. When did that happen? 2024, as recently as 2024.
Is that 2024 in your state?
No, but I talked about
Okay, so it should be interesting.
No, I appreciate that, but I'm just saying that I think the nuance of it is it's like folks can point to things, right? But a lot of times there's like this exterior context to all those things.
Of course.
And so I think the question I have is there's always a way of saying like there's too much or you're going way too far out. But I think there's a procedural process because that issue in particular, actually I feel like personally is a way we can create generational wealth by actually forming our community. And it's centered right in Boston.
Yeah.
It's like you can point to that.
Of course.
So I think there's a, so I'm not saying it's simple,
Listen.
but I also think there's a way.
Hey, I got a question.
Okay, hold on. Listen, family. This is a good exercise. What this exercise is designed to do is to show how collectively unprepared we are to just ask for reparations.
But that's not
Wait,
true.
hold on. Listen, I'm not talking about experts, subject matter experts in our community that's been working on this for their entire professional lives. We have very credible, respectable people and organizations in our community that have put their whole careers and lives to the question of reparations. And I'm not discounting that. The reason why it hasn't happened is because it's not a broad-based, community-driven movement to get there. And hold on, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. That's not the purpose of us here. The purpose of us here is so that you can understand how granular this issue is and how much work collectively as a community we need to do to be prepared for this process.
Okay, I don't think that.
So our work today. Okay, I'm coming to. Refine. I'm coming to you.
It was just a question.
So our goal and what we have in our next steps for not only the city of Boston, but every reparation city we go into,
Right.
and every task force we speak to, is to talk about and get and press upon cities the importance of understanding bringing communities along. If we were 40 trained to go reparations experts in this room alone, it still wouldn't be enough. What we're trying to impress on everyone is that we have work to do. And we build on the work that has come before us, and that's important. But just because we're building on the work before us doesn't negate the work that we have to do.
Why?
And the fact that, hold on, because I got somebody in front of you. But to wrap it up into a bow is that if you haven't built a movement that any random person in your movement, I'm not talking about outside the movement, in your movement can't tell you what a simple harm statement is, then we have a lot of work to do. Now, this was not a harm statement workshop. This was an opportunity to get the community to understand the importance and the detailed work that goes into creating these harm statements. Let me stop.
And we're not tapping into our, I mean, you can speak.
No, I keep hearing the word community, right? What community? Because if you're talking about a community, when we have, this country has completely saturated us with other communities, okay, that are within our communities. And they do not have the same interests that we have in mind in regards to our reparations. Now, I've seen all these people talking about what they ain't gonna do, okay? From Westmore, all right, who comes from the Caribbean, right? We shouldn't get it. From the man Ching in Detroit talking about getting rid of Black History Month. And you got all these other people speaking who are supposed to be part of our community. But they're speaking against our best interests. Okay? And so I'm just tired of this community talk. I'm tired of this people of color. I'm tired of this just going from, this rainbow coalition of people. There's only one group of people that this harm took place to, and that was the people right here in the United States of America, right? And so why are here?
Good job. I'm not disagreeing with a syllable that he said. This is the question I have. For you, Nick. What's the amount in Boston? What's the amount of the population of the affected population that you're talking about? What's the number?
For Boston?
Black people?
All of the people that I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about the people from a lineage-based reparation.
I'm asking, what's the number? What's in that? How many in that population?
All right. And how we find this out? Okay, there's a couple of steps we can do, right? We can go to license plates. We can go to birth certificates. We can also go to the Census Bureau, right? Look, everybody that are here, right, wasn't brought over here by no slave ships either. Truth be told, all right? Copper-colored people were here long before the first slave ship hit this shore, and we know that just from doing our research.
So I still don't disagree with anything Nick has said. But only thing his statements have told us is that what? We have work to do. If you're involved in this and you don't know the size of the population, what's the number? What's the number? 13%. I know. What's the number? How many people does that represent?
13% of 700,000. Got it?
What's the number?
700,000 residents in Boston, 13% of that. Okay, that's the number. 13% of 700,000. Can somebody get their calculator, do that math for this man? 13% of 700,000.
So
okay.
That's what they're saying about
13%.
Roxbury was 90% black. Now it's 30% black. We have huge displacement.
So what?
60,000 people have left Boston. 60,000 black people have left.
Displaced. We need the correct language because displaced.
But they're no longer here.
Listen, family, I love this. What this is demonstrating is the work we have yet to do.
91,000 has been displaced.
Yet to have, what that demonstrates is the work we have yet to do. And if a table of 40 can't come up with a single concise harm statement, what do you expect this task force to do by
I expect
themselves?
the $800,000 down payment so I can help get it together.
GPT check.
So what these things? Hold on.
He is teaching us the process. And what we're doing, we're learning how to create those statements.
I agree. That's our whole. Listen. I'm not frustrated at all. This is.
We're not gonna get nowhere this way. We're just not gonna get nowhere this way.
Let me just say this. Let me ask you if I hold on, because I need to move to the next step. Your day is over. I don't wanna hold you up back more than I need to. But this is all I have to say. I'm not frustrated at all. This is what we do, right? But the hardest part of community, of this community work, is getting the community to understand that they have to roll up their sleeves and actually put in the work. All right? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move to the next steps, right? I'm gonna move to the next step because one question is gonna lead to the next question, gonna lead to the next question. We are going to stay. We're going to stay because I don't want to cannibalize on the time that people are expected to leave. What I will do is we will stay as much as we need to afterwards to have this discussion, but I promise you that we are going to agree on one thing. And the thing that we're going to agree on is that we are not ready. And that's not a deficit statement.
We are getting ready.
Exactly. That's not
Getting ready.
exactly. I agree. It's not a deficit statement.
We ain't ready for what? The check? No. We are getting ready. What
ready.
is it that we're not ready for?
Let me end with our next steps. I told you, I'll stay as long as you need to. I'll stay here and have this discussion because it's what we do. It's what we do. It's what we breathe. We'll have this discussion, but I want to be able to respect people's time and release them. So in order to do that, let me go through the next steps real quick.
Thank you.
So the first next step recommendation that we'll be advancing to the task force is we just scratched the surface.
Right?
We didn't even give you, you notice that we didn't even give you an example of a concise, complete harm statement because that requires work. So let me ask you to wait till hold on, let me ask you, hey,
This is
help
we're
this.
discussing our harms. You don't know what this is going to bring up in us.
I totally
What
agree.
measures do you have to protect our sanity while we go through so-called formal harms workshop?
Let me finish. Let me finish because what I want you to do is I want you to release people who we promised to release at a certain time. I love this question, and I'm telling you, I will talk about it. This is what I'm here for. All right. But this formal work still has to be done, right? This is just the scratching of the surface of the work that we have to do. So we will be, one of our recommendations to the task force is to actually conduct a formal harms workshop. Also, we are 40 in here, roughly, throughout the day. 40 to 50 in here throughout the day. In order for us to really impact the community that Nick is talking about, identifying that community, is we have to be in an organizing process. I know sometimes some of you are long-time organizers or activists, but I come from the school of the actual discipline of community organizing and using community organizing to impact issues. Not just talk about issues, but to actually bring people aboard. Bring people aboard so that you can amplify your voice to make things happen. That's the thing, that's the school that we come from, and we are committed to that process. So another recommendation that we will have is to introduce community organizing into the process, what that looks like. Because 40 people in the room is not gonna do it. I hope you agree with that. And if you don't, we can have that discussion. And what that organizing will do is help us expand the base of the work that needs to be done. Because trust me, if I could do it by myself, it would have been done a long time ago. And I think that that's the same for anybody in here. If you could have done it alone, or if you could have done it with your small group, it would have been done a long time ago. You have to expand the base, not narrow the base. And the last thing that I will have is commit to continue shared learning. Commit to continue shared learning. Every time that you walk away from a shared learning situation, you should be stronger on the issue, not weaker. And I'm not talking about you individually. I mean the collective that participated. Information and knowledge is elevated because of that process. If it's not, then what we're here for. And this is the last thing that I would like us to do. Feedback for us is a gift, right? Feedback to us is a gift. And we have a simple, 9 or 10 question survey that we would ask you to just take your phone out, take a picture, or pull up that QR code and just answer for us. A simple response. This is the way that you can give, this is the way that you can give feedback
to the task force about the work that we did today. If you don't think it was valuable, say you don't think it was valuable. Yes, we can get it. We can email it to right now, huh? Yeah, we can email the link. No problem. We can get that to you. We can get that to you before you leave today. All right, but we want the feedback. All right, and then this is what I'll say. I am encouraged by the work that you all did today. I commend the grappling and the struggle and the in education they call it the productive struggle that you have to do in order to master something. And we didn't even talk about mastering. We just explored issues. And our contention is that a committed group of people grappling with, struggling with the issues, understanding and ironing out wrinkles and differences is how you make a community and a movement strong.
Yes, sir.
I'll give it to Dr. Tahi to close us out. But like I said, we will stay here as long as you need us to answer questions or challenges that you may have with our approach. We'll be here.
Can I ask you one question?
I need to close it out. I'm not going to.
But I want to ask, if you gave out $800,000, or the city of Boston gave out $800,000 to everyone here to make the case for reparations by showing reparations in real time, you don't think that would attract other people?
I don't believe it.
Okay.
Well, here's the problem. You say if the city of Boston gave $800,000
as a down payment,
how are you going to force the city of Boston to do that?
by making the case.
Okay, so we need to make the case.
Case is already made.
Is to set a process by which
Case is already made.
It's already made.
It is
So
made.
that the city of Boston will be compelled to do that. There are some other issues that we can talk about with that. But look, I think the word we all should lead with is struggle. Okay? And productive struggle. There are four kinds of struggle that all people are involved in. One is the struggle against nature. That is, we have to produce food, clothing, and shelter for ourselves. We get that from the natural environment. Every living thing is pretty much involved in that struggle. There's the struggle against others, right? And we can define who those others are. As a community, you have others who are always going to struggle against what you want. It's not going to be, you're going to make the case and they're going to just acquiesce. You have to come to them with enough evidence that your evidence provides power to compel them to do what they're going to do. So there's always a struggle against the outside. This is not an easy thing. There's also the struggle within our own group. We're struggling today. Everybody has a different opinion. Everybody wants that opinion heard. Okay? We have to have a process where everybody's opinion can be heard. You can't come into an organizing process and say, leave your agenda outside. Because if I say that to you, what I mean is, I got an agenda I want you to adopt. No, we can't do that. We have to have everybody's agenda out on the table, and we have to struggle with the fact that we don't always agree on things, and we have to then find a way to create a shared vision so that we can all get, maybe not all of what we want, but at least a considerable amount of what we want, because we want our lives of our children and grandchildren to be better than ours, and we all want that. So we all agree on that, let's agree on that. And then there's a struggle within ourselves, because there was a question about sanity. Part of that struggle is the struggle within ourselves. We are a people who have been oppressed, and therefore we are upset. And whenever we get an opportunity to express that upset, we want it heard. We want it heard. We want it heard. That is, by the way, a way to maintain our sanity. We don't keep it inside, we get it out. And we can do that in these contexts, and we have to really honor each other's need to get it out. But once it's out, then we have to get to work. Because nothing's going to change unless we do it. There's no one coming to save us. We have to do this work. There's no one who's going to act for it. Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there's no progress. This is struggle. This is hard. This is not easy. We have to struggle. There are four of them. And oppressed communities are involved in a struggle in all of them. From feeding ourselves, to getting along with each other, to how we maintain our mental health. And so life is struggle. This is what it is. And there's not going to be an end of this. Even if we had our $800,000, the question is, what are you going to do with it?
Invest. Give it to me. I'm going to make the case. I'm going to show. Okay. When you give me $800, I'm going to show how it saves my life.
Okay. What we'd like to do is close the
Before we close,
community development team out, and we're going to stay. He offered to stay.
This is just one suggestion, one
second,
error.
I love you to death. I'm saying just one second.
But we can
I'm
get a
trying
number
to close
count of
them
people
out.
by putting a question on the ballots of descendants
No,
of
ma'am.
slavery.
Ma'am, what I'm saying is I'm going to close this part out. I'm going to make an announcement for people that have been here since 10 o'clock that we need to leave because they're getting ready to leave. And then they're willing to stay.
Go ahead, my love.
After.
Go ahead, my
I got
love.
you.
Go ahead, do what you do.
Asia, I got you. One second, okay? First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. This meeting was really important. I know that there's a lot of dissension among the people.
No, it's not. It's good, baby.
No, I just hear and see what's going on. So, and some people who have left. But the bottom line is the whole purpose of this meeting was to explain to people and see, let people understand it. There's work to do. When I'm in the community, I'm asking people to come up with their harms and a strategy, and they're not listening. So this is the reality. The reality is you can't ask for reparations as a check without coming up with harms and a strategy plan. So you get $800,000, what are you doing with it if there's no community? So this was really important to me personally, although this is my job as being a task force member, and I wanted people to see that. Win, lose, or draw, the bottom line is you can't ask for anything without having line items. Without having line items of harms as to why you're asking for $800,000, $200,000, and then how do you want to be repaired? Because the bottom line is the city of Boston doesn't have cash like that. The debt, the amount of money that people are talking about is the federal government. It's for the 40 acres and the mules. A lot of people have this confused. The 40 acres and the mule goes to the federal government, not the city of Boston. We're focused on how the city of Boston was complicit in the legacy of slavery and how that affects us right now. Period. So I think this was really important to do because if we didn't do this and the reports come out and we have to make recommendations, people are going to think that we were making recommendations based on just the reports and the 40 acres and a mule.
Whose report? The city of
I'm
Boston?
getting ready to get to that right. Please, let me
No,
do my
I
thing.
just want to know
I
whose
know, but if
report.
you let me talk and let me do my thing, I got it. Trust me, I do. The bottom line is we wanted to reset the clock. We wanted to make sure that the community had an opportunity to speak their mind. Because up until now, there's never been a formal platform to do so. And I'm saying to everybody who's here and not here, don't call me, don't complain about your voices unheard if you're not sitting in this room. We passed out 1,200 flyers, Precious, Grace, and the other lady that just left. There's no reason that people in the city of Boston don't know about this meeting. These men flew all the way from Kansas to do this presentation to let us know whether we like it or not. We're way behind the 8 ball as far as harms. And that's what I've been preaching in this community for the last 2 years, and this is the reality. They're not our enemy. They're trying to address the issue and let us know we have work to do. You can't just ask for a check and not put in the line items as to why you're asking for a check, and regardless to what you're talking about, make it make sense.
Thank you.
The other, Mandy. Don't. I'm talking. Don't do this to me. Please don't. Mandy, can you remove her? Can you remove her, please? Mandy, don't do that to me. Don't.
I don't like that.
I don't like that you disrespect me in the meeting. I got it. So, I want to make 2 announcements. There are 2 people who are here today that have been appointed to the task force. We did not announce it earlier because I was waiting for both people to get here. So the full task force that's here is Ms. Lamerci, Mr. Althea, can you stand, Matt? And can you stand, Darian? These are 2 people that are new people who will be sworn in after November. People are asking me about the reports as far as Northeastern and Tufts, and according to the information that I got from the city, the reports are not going to be available until after the election. So this time is the time for us to get ourselves together before these reports come out. We can't go from the reports are being done, now give us a check. Or that the task force is being made to make recommendations without having a community input. And that's why we did it this way. So I'm going to shut this down, but Asia, I did promise you that I would hear something from you.
So I just want to say one thing. We know there's bylaws from the Reparations Task Force. We haven't seen as...
There aren't any bylaws.
Okay, so
we have no
how
bylaws.
are we going to address the items that you need to address as a Reparations Task Force, number 1? Number 2,
What issues are you talking about?
Because I got short time and I need to get out what I need to get out.
I know, but I want to address your first question. What issues do you think we need to address?
Oh, there's a lot.
Okay,
So why are we depending on these universities to give us our history when we have historians in Boston that have done the research that we're looking for from Boston, that has the research, that has the history, that has the education, that has the knowledge to know how to put a petition together, how to get bills signed, how to come together as a community, because you're asking the community, and a lot of us are so harmed that we're explaining our individual harms and not as a community. But if we ask the people that have done this research, that are educated in this realm of things, they're not even here. And I know at least 5 historians in Boston that have done the research that can give you where lineage comes from, for the people that need to receive the reparations first. Like, there's so many layers of this. We need land. We need minerals. Like, they're trying to give us BS. Low-income housing. We don't need no more apartments. That's not helping us black people survive. Why aren't we getting houses? We don't need to pay back nothing. Y'all owe us this. Y'all owe us these companies. Don't get me started. Like, honestly,
well, I want to hear you out, but I don't know if you're asking me a question or you're making a statement.
Yeah, I'm making a statement at this point because I don't have time. I'm in between 2 events. Like, we should be a part of this healing event that's at RCC. Why are our black men being incarcerated at this high-ass rate? Like, come on. They can't get jobs. They can't help a single woman. They can't help your mothers that have their children. There's no trades that are keeping them in our community. Like, they're displacing us at a high rate. Black women are unemployed. Like, I'm educated. I have a college degree and still can't get a job. I got white people asking me questions and I'm over them.
Right.
You're asking me about my experience? I got 20+ years of experience.
Right.
Sit down. You're the admin assistant. What are you asking me for?
Right. And that was one of the things that I pointed out when I talked to Northeastern. There wasn't just fire and police, it's corporate. We went through a lot in corporate, and I thought that was something that should have been pointed out as well, too.
We need to see those reports. Right? They were supposed to come June 30th. We had no community meeting for Reparations Task Force in July. We had no meeting in February. Do not get me started. I'm trying to
Can I go back again? Because we had this conversation.
I know.
We had a meeting in December where Northeastern presented their report. Correct. We had a meeting in January where Tufts presented their report.
And it was BS. It was on high school level. My high schoolers, right?
That's
right. They gave us a better report.
Okay, but
that's what I'm saying.
Can I make a statement, Asia?
We need the historians.
Asia, can I make a statement?
We need our black people with black lineage from enslaved, whatever. But y'all get what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
From our, not Pan-African, we're washing down our history.
Right. Can I make a statement? I just want to correct the facts. And so because Tufts and Northeastern wanted time to represent, there was no February meeting because they presented in March. We gave 3 meetings, April, May, and June, with the community partners so they could showcase their projects. And you were there for April, and so May and June was there. The hiatus.
I was there June.
Okay, so the hiatus for July and August is because we were thinking we were getting the reports from the researchers so that we could review and give them to you in September. And I'm saying to you at the top of my conversation, those reports will not be released until after November, after the election. Can I finish?
As a community, we're supposed to give our recommendations from those reports. And
No,
those
you're
reports
not.
yes, we are. As a community, we're supposed to give our recommendations.
Asia, are we talking or are you yelling over me?
Being real.
Because
Be real.
Can I please finish what I was saying?
You don't have to exclude me out of this meeting because you're not being real.
No.
Right now.
Who's not being real?
Like June 30th, we as a community were supposed to see those reports.
No, that's not true. June 30th was the deadline for the reports. The reports were going to the city first. They were going to review them and then give them to the task force to review so that we could present it to you in September. What I said at the top of my conversation was the mayor decided not to release the reports until after November. That has nothing to do with the task force, nothing to do with the equity inclusion cabinet. I'm being very honest with you. Antonia has no vested interest in keeping you out when I'm killing myself to make you a part of this process. This is the reality. I speak reality. And that's all I'm saying to you. I have no reason to keep you out. When the reports become available, yes, they will be available for you to review. And so far, they're going to be online, and I have a budget set aside to print them for people who attend that meeting. So if you don't go to that meeting that's set up, you will not get a printed copy, and it's going to be online. I'm working and killing myself to make sure that everybody is accommodated. So if I have a meeting like this, and I print 1,000 copies and 1,000 people don't show up, we've missed our mark. So people can't complain to me that they didn't get it, Antonia, I can't see it, I can't comprehend it. When I kill myself, and this task force works with me, even though we go back and forth, they believe in what I'm doing for the community. And this room is empty. You understand what I'm saying? So don't ever tell me that I'm cutting people out. When I beat the streets and I walk around the community in stilettos, wait a minute, Asia, do not talk. Okay, I am the task force.
You're yelling now.
I am a part of the task force.
No, you're yelling. Don't do that. You're not a good example.
On the task force. Where's the chief? Where's Joe Feaster?
I announced before you got here that Joe Feaster's not here today.
Why? Because he don't want to hear what the community gotta say. He don't want to put it in writing. Y'all are not putting our statements in writing.
Who's not putting what statements in writing?
Because he's happy.
Wait a minute, what statements are you talking about?
Online in a minute. I know, because.
But what statements are you talking about, Asia? We're here today so that everybody's voice can be heard, so it's on the record, and everybody's statement is a part of the record, so that these gentlemen, you weren't here, let me explain to you. So these gentlemen can do a report and then give it back to us, so it'll be a part of the recommendations. You weren't here earlier. I just want to make sure we're clear. I said that at the beginning of the conversation in the meeting, and I'm going to continue to say the same thing. I did this on purpose, so that everybody's voice would be heard. These are the record keepers. They're going to write a report, and they're going to give it to us by October 20th. This was done purposely. So Khalid is going to speak from now on.
Thank y'all very much. Y'all have closing comments? All right. So that is the official closing of this meeting. The facilitators said they're here to answer your questions. My role now is to clean up. So I need access to the table so I can clean up.
So we ain't got to go home, but.
You don't have to go home, you have to get out of my way. And that's what helped me clean up. I'm cool with that too.
But every time you ask for the report, now the mayor is in charge. Now it's back to October. Then it's back to November. You said it. Can I say one real quick thing?
One second, and it only takes 1 minute. 1 second here. Because I want to go
She didn't say nothing all day. She had a comment.
She's real quick comment.
Kenneth? Yeah, nice to meet you. I work with the city, so I'll be seeing you.
No, I want to hear those. You're right though. They do got a lot of historians out here that we need to hear from them.
And they never are in these meetings.
They're right in Roxbury too.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah.
They purposefully exclude them. If you're on this, hear what I'm saying. All I'm saying is some requirements, some recommendations.
I'm trying to tell you, listen, this is why we gotta build our own shit. We can't rely on the city.
But we need our historians in the building. Like they did the research. We're looking for the same people that oppress us to come up with the answers for us to move forward. I took Black history at Northeastern. I minded it. Like, you're not telling me nothing I don't know. And that's what the problem is. They're not looking for us. They're looking for the white man, again, to give us the answer for what we Black people need. And then Black people are so segregated. There's Black Caribbeans, Black Latinos now, you know what I'm saying? So we really have to use the right language.
Familiar, man. We've been around each other before.
Yeah,
Probably.
he's everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
So we need to really say American freedom.
But she got valid points there. We don't need other people to tell our
They want to
history.
shut me up. They want to shut me up
But
because
there's people right in Roxbury that know history of
that's what I'm
Roxbury.
saying. Like, where are they? How come they ain't coming up with some of the report or some of their requirements? If you're looking for community, come on, get the community education from those that have the education or the research already done. You're looking for these universities. You already paid them $500,000 of my reparations money. $500,000. 250 went to each university when we could have paid 3 historians from Roxbury right here. They don't want to give us some shit.
That's true.
You're not hearing
She got a
what I'm
valid point.
saying.
Yeah.
And they're trying to shut me up. What the point is, y'all had those reports since June 30th. Why is it in the community? Why can't we view it? So what? Y'all seen it for 2-3 months.
This should be public information, right?
It's supposed to be public as soon as they gave it in.
Right, so we should have access to it right now.
Just to give you some history, Northeastern gave their report in January. It was bullshit. I was there.
So, okay.
Okay? It was like when I say it was bull. ChatGPT would have gave me a better presentation. Right?
Wow.
So she knows I have the history. I have recommendations already. I have what we need to do as a community. We need to start writing petitions. But if we're not educated, you're asking the uneducated community, and they're going to talk about their individual harm.
Right. We need to look at it as a whole picture.
Nobody's really listening to what I'm saying because they're not educated enough to know if we had the Black historians say, these are the things we need to focus on as a community. Yo, okay, over here, we got Roxbury that has been systemically displaced, first off, right? And if we really want to be technical, we started on Joy Street.
Okay, yeah. Right by the State House.
Right by the State House. Come on. They moved us to Roxbury, right? They always try to like put us in the worst area.
Then we were in the South End, then we got in the Roxbury.
Then health, right? They didn't talk about Bartlett Station.
Oh yeah, the oil, the chemicals, all that stuff, yeah. She knows.
Mad of our Black and Black students, Black kids, Black families, asthma. Nobody's talking about that shit.
Asbestos.
They don't want asbestos, everything. Lead poisoning. You know how many people
all the
I
projects
know
have
that
lead
stutter because of lead poisoning? They can't read because of lead poisoning. And they purposefully put us in these areas. The water wasn't clean at a certain point in Roxbury. They're not talking about that. Health disparities. Even though Boston Medical Center is right in Roxbury, they're not coming to our communities, right? I'm a community health advocate. They're asking me, well, what can we do? Get a van. I want to see you at Orchard Gardens. I want to see you at Academy Homes, I want to see you at these projects.
Right.
Get them, because we got high blood pressure, health problems, heart
Diabetes.
problems, diabetes at a high rate. And it's also the food. So all of that they asked us as a community comes together. I'm not disrespecting nobody.
It's a way to present your thing.
I had a certain amount of time.
You can't do it. I mean, I want to say, I got to hold in, but we
You're not hearing me. And even as a black woman, you're not hearing me. Even as a black woman, I'm sticking up for
like
you.
you said, she is a member of the community. She is not on the
Correct. And I'm not minimizing her. But what I'm saying is not just her. You're not even letting me finish. You asked me not to.
The reason why we're here today, because she fought for it.
No, because I pushed on her ass to fight for it. You don't know. You don't know.
The reason why
Thank you very much for your statement, but you don't know.
want to deal with it. Okay? So, like, this is just beginning.
She right, the rest of the members on that task force do not want to have this.
I know, because I've been having meetings with her since January. Ask her. I've been having meetings with her every single month, and she honestly does everything that I recommend.
That's why she wanted some of us on the committee to get on the committee to help her push.
And the only reason I got upset is because of what we discussed this past week. The reports have been in the task force since June 30th. Only from Northeastern. You don't even know.
That's a long time.
Reports have done.
That's a long time.
No, it's the mayor. The mayor pulled the stuff. That's just what it is. The mayor pulled the stuff.
No, but we're not ready.
Listen. I know, but that's a different point. That's a different point. The point is that the reports were supposed to be released. The mayor pulled the stuff because it was a campaign with John
I've been to the meetings with the reports. Did you not hear what that
The reports
She
are
said
ready.
it.
No, the reports are ready. The reports are
The
done
reports
and they're ready.
are 250 pages long. No, they've been ready since June 30th. See, that's what I'm saying to you. You're not even listening.
Well, she said that she said the mayor won't release him because that's the election. So they have him in hand already.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she pushed it back to November. And in the report, phase 1,
I don't care about the report.
no, you have to forget.
No, I care.
It makes a difference if it's going to
You don't
conflict.
even know the process.
If it's going to conflict with what is true, it doesn't make a
Phase 1 was supposed to
difference.
be done
So
2024,
listen,
December.
even if they release the ports, is the community there to negotiate what we want?
They're
No, we're
supposed
not.
to give them to the community to
What
agree
community?
over us.
So it's like you being in court. You want to see the evidence that's against you. So you got to see the evidence. Now you present your case. You have to see the
You
evidence.
gotta go through it.
I didn't say we didn't have to see the evidence, but what I'm saying,
So
when they release the reports,
There's a
right?
difference, though. There's a fallout between that this should not be a task force and actually should be a committee. So
Okay.
those who are in the know actually have been pushing for this. Are you trying to use the national form of the committee?
Right.
When it was reduced to a task force, that is when they all opted out.
Correct.
So
And
now,
the task force has a specific job as a task force, and if we don't know the job
This is
of the
why
task
those
force,
are-
we
No,
can't.
that's incorrect. That's incorrect. The community has to have its own council. Okay?
I know, but
Has nothing to do with the city. The city does what the city does. The community, we need our own
Miss
council
Grace.
because we, listen, hear me out.
Miss
Hear
Grace,
me out.
you
I
done
do this
jumped,
work
you done
all my
jumped over
life.
the steps, though.
No,
You
listen.
jumped over what I just said. You didn't misunderstand
No,
what I said.
you
I
said-
am talking about the community.
No, I'm not
I
talking
said,
about the-
I'm saying what
okay.
happened with the original fallout with the community, which is why you don't see
What
these
community?
meetings. Our community. Those who
What fallout?
specifically.
We don't have no organized community council meeting.
Yes, the mayor is
The
withholding
community don't
something.
have its own meeting.
All right, no.
Does the community have its own meeting?
So the mayor, what he's trying to
I don't
say
think
is
you
the
understand what I'm saying,
mayor.
but it's okay. Maybe we can revisit this
No.
conversation.
I'm intelligent enough to know what you're saying.
What am I saying
Are
exactly?
you saying that our community has its own community council meeting on.
Actually, they had an old forum down Roxbury Library a couple of years ago. Kevin Peterson and all those.
Okay, but
Wait a minute.
But that's his
See,
business.
Hold on, wait a minute. See, this is the
That's
problem.
his
This is the
business.
problem. This is how we
No,
do
that's
things.
not the
Because
problem.
we're ignoring that there are people who are informed, that people that have been doing this.
I'm not ignoring that.
See, yeah, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
You're making this a point of contention about whether the mayor will do something. But right now, I'm talking about why our community is not in this room the way that they are, right? And it's because of this point. It's because when you look at the national model, which has been implemented on the discussion of reparations, it's not a task force. It's a committee. It's a commission. Excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah,
And the
that
reason
has nothing to do with
you gotta
the
let
road.
me finish. You gotta let me finish.
Yeah.
You gotta let me finish.
Okay,
You
go
gotta let me
ahead.
finish. Now, see, this is part of our issue. Our issue that we always
Part of our issue is
that
we think we know something.
We gotta let him talk.
When we don't.
All right, Mr. Grace.
I respect him off.
I respectfully let you go. No, I understand, but what I don't do is argue with my elders. I can have a conversation with my elders. I can have a conversation with my
Did you not
elders, but
hear
I
the
can't.
speaker what he said?
I
Did
can't
you
go
not
to
hear
that.
what the speaker said?
I heard
The speaker said that the community needs our own committee, and we need to be organizing the committee. I mean the group.
You're right.
Now, all praises due to Reverend Peterson. I support his work, but we have the churches. None of the black churches are involved. We have people who are in black. I've gone to.
So none of the churches involved at all? I'll check and find out. I'll find out.
Okay.
I know there are some that should be.
No, but they have not come to the meeting or be involved.
I'll
They don't
check.
come to Reverend Peterson's whatever. I went to the NAACP office.
Every last one of them has
A different agenda.
I'm just not coming and just saying this.
But yeah, he has a lot of knowledge, so that's why I'm listening to him.
But I am a community organizer. I've been since I'm telling you what that guy's saying is that's what we need to do. We need to organize the community.
Okay.
We need to organize the institutions. I went to the NAACP office. I'm like,
What are they doing for us though?
no, no.
They want you to become a member.
They haven't even released a report.
Forget the
critiquing
negative
mayor's
about
office.
people. Okay, they're there.
Right.
They say they represent the community.
They don't.
I asked
They
them, I
really
said,
don't.
what is your position on reparations? How come you're not?
They don't care.
You're not taking an
Trust me,
active role.
I talked to them. They don't care.
I went to Grove Hall to Nation Islam. What is your position on? I see some of the brothers come, but every organization should be having a reparations meeting in their.
I will look
in
into
their
it.
area.
I will talk to people about it.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you on that too.
Yeah, every organization should.
I know. I see what you're saying.
This is a key issue.
But you know what it is?
This is the most
Because
important issue than anything else.
Can I say something to you?
Yeah.
Because it's such a large group of people, it's hard to get everybody on the same page. So we got to find a common.
This is the page we need to be on. That we have to fight for reparations.
I understand that, but when you have a large group of people so diverse, it's hard to get everybody on the same accord because everybody's looking at themselves as an individual than as a whole. So till you can get everybody on the same page as an entire group, you're always going to have division. But this is started from Willie Lynch.
A community council.
The council is going to be divided, just so you know.
It
will be divided.
A town hall meeting.
I got you.
Well, we had a town hall meeting last year. It wasn't on reparations, but Sister Priscilla emailed all the leaders, emailed all the churches, and brought people to the room.
Right.
Okay? We need a community our own. It has nothing to do with the city. Because we could choose to sue the city. We don't have to go through this.
We just gotta have a foundation with suing them on.
No, but I'm just telling you. And like they said, we have the expert in the room.
Right.
Okay. So my friend, a friend of mine, Attorney Morris Kirshner.
Okay.
He sat on the Mashpee Indians reparations with Massachusetts for 10 years. Okay, for 10 years that happened before they got.
In order for us to go any
I know
further,
a little bit about that,
we
I'm
need-
also a community organizer. We need a community. We need everyone to get on board.
So this
and
is
we need a.
This is the word I always start off with, and everybody confuses it with other words. We need unity. So if we have unity, all the other stuff goes out the window. But unity
What is
will give
unity? Unity
unity.
is a big word. So what
Unity
does it
is
mean
us all
exactly?
as one unit.
You're never going to get that.
That's what I'm saying. So
You're going to get those.
So that's the
who
problem
are
right
coming,
there.
No, that's not a problem.
That is a problem.
Because everything that happens, everyone wasn't there. There's a group of people that do the work, go out in community organize, and everyone therefore falls in and do their part. Some
Okay.
people may do calls. Some people, but everyone is not going to be in that room.
If we're not
That's
if we're not unified, then we can't
That's how
fight.
we
We can't fight the same battle.
Yeah.
It's hard to fight the same battle if you're not unified.
No, but you keep on saying you're not unified.
You
If
have
you
to
know
be.
community organization, it's going out,
Okay.
engaging with the people.
I understand all that.
Informing them what's going on. Documenting their opinions.
Right.
Informing that we formed the council. We're going to be talking about this. Keeping them informed. The meeting is in person
You want
and
to know
online.
the biggest problem though?
Yeah.
We were never unified from the beginning.
It's always been unified. That's why we're here. That's a
No,
lie.
as people, as black
We've
people,
always
we
been
were never
That's why
unified.
we
Not the right
wouldn't be
way.
here if we weren't unified.
Look at
Take,
you want to know why I know
words
this?
Mean,
Why there's so
words
denominations
mean,
of Christianity?
Listen. Words are powerful.
They are powerful.
We have always been unified.
When?
No. We have always been
And
unified.
doing what though?
Roxbury wouldn't be here if we weren't unified.
But how unified were
we
we?
would have got, excuse me.
Roxbury wouldn't be taken away
never
from
had
us.
a black president if we weren't
No,
unified.
that's not unified.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah,
a
it
popular
is.
vote.
No,
unified is you don't let
that's
somebody
not true.
take something away from you that
That's
you
not
already
true.
have.
What you mean?
If this was Roxbury, right, and we owned Roxbury back then, and we were unified,
Yeah.
they would never take it away from us from the beginning. Because we've been so unified that they would felt the pain and punishment of repercussion.
You have
taken.
challenges in life. Sometimes
So,
everything,
that's not unified.
campaigns don't always go your way,
So,
but you keep on.
When we have
That's right.
unification,
We're still unified.
that's just an opinion.
Huh?
It's not a fact.
It is. Well,
It's not a
I
fact.
can make it a fact. I can make it a fact.
Make it a fact and let me know.
Okay. We have.
So,
yeah.
This right here, we were not unified at all.
How you say without you? You don't think that there's no progress without struggle?
But we already did the struggle. I'm gonna leave on this note. We've been struggling all our lives.
Exactly.
And we're gonna keep struggling until we get unity.
There's no accomplishment without struggle. Don't look at the struggle as a weakness. It's necessary for you to come together.
Well, it's necessary to understand each other.
It's like you ride a bike. You're gonna fall off that bike.
But at one point, you're gonna ride the bike and don't fall off, and stay on the bike. And then what happens next? All right, I'm gonna head up out of here. But nice talking to you. So a lot of people don't know what unity is. Black unity is there's a system where no one interferes with you. Like youth violence, for example. If we were unified, there would be no youth violence. There would be no drugs in our community. That's unity. If you see someone getting hit across the head, everybody comes as a team and help that person out. We don't see that in our community. So don't tell me we're unified when I know we're not. You can say that, but this young lady here has a lot of wealth and knowledge. I'm going to talk to her later on, but I'm going to cut this off and hit you guys on the next one.